Today, we are crowning a champion. Welcome back to the 2023 Collegiate Chess League presented by SIG. I am your host, Nemo, and I am joined back in the studio today with Joe. So I hope you guys all had a fantastic day yesterday. And Joe, I also hope you enjoyed watching the games. I know that you didn't get to participate with a commentary, but what did you think of the games?
Well, it's good to be back, Nemo, and I can't wait to show the grand finale of the season. This is the last day, so this is all what it comes down to. The matches yesterday were spectacular, and it was an absolute treat to watch Danya. So even though I wasn't here commentating, it was still a blast to watch, and Danya is just so good. I think you mentioned it on broadcast yesterday that he's so fast. He's definitely a world talent, and so it was definitely a dream come true for me to see him commentating a Collegiate Chess League match. So hopefully he can come back again next season. But Nemo, tell us what happened yesterday and what are we going to watch today?
Well, here's how the playoffs have shaken out. We do know that, Danya is one of the best commentators in the world, and he expertly casted the University of Texas at Dallas match against UTRGV with a very, very slight favorite win going to University of Texas at Dallas, putting them into the finals. And we also got to see St. Louis play against Mizzou for the second time this season. And I think that was an absolutely spectacular match. A lot of great games from that one, with St. Louis actually pulling quite significantly ahead over there with 10 points to 6. So they are going to be playing in the finals later today, but our very first match of the day is the third place match between University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley, and the University of Missouri. They both lost yesterday going into the finals, so they are going to have to I don't know about step it up, but I think their players are going to be a lot more alert. And also, as a reminder, there's plenty on the line for this third place match. There is $1,500 total, with $1,000 going to third, as well as $5,000 going to the first place of our second match of the day. Joe, how do you feel going into this UTRGV versus Mizzou match?
Well, that's a great question because we saw this UTRGV team come very close to making it to the finals. Unfortunately, they lost by 1 point. I think that they're fairly happy with how they played considering Dallas had an all GM team. So UTRGV hasn't changed their lineup, as you can see. Mizzou, on the other hand, you definitely got to keep an eye out on their fourth board. So Mizzou not happy with their performance, especially after they were able to take down SLU in the regular season, unable to perform here in the playoffs where it matters most. And they swapped out their fourth board, International Master Josiah Sterman, for their Grandmaster, Harshit Raja, who's stepping in today and hopefully can be a difference maker for this Mizzou team.
For sure. And also, as a reminder to everyone, UTRGV, while they only show they have 4 international masters, they do have 2 grandmaster elects in Sean Rodriguez Lemieux, as well as Gleb Dodin. We did see them perform yesterday, perhaps not to the best of their ability, but they were definitely performing. So today they're going to have an even tougher match because they are playing against 4 grandmasters. And honestly, I would say that this is one of the craziest matchups that I have seen. So, Joe, what do you think we are going to expect from this one?
I'm going to expect Mizzou to give it their all, as well as UTRGV. I mean, this is their last match of the season. Even though they're not playing the finals, as you showed, they still have $1,000 on the line. There's still plenty to compete for. They want to end their season at least on a win. They don't want to go back-to-back losses to end. Definitely would leave a sour taste in their mouth before next season. But I think Mizzou is the slight favorite. I think that I'm going to give the edge to them because of their 4 GM lineup, as well as just, frankly, I think that their players are stronger. Obviously, you mentioned UTRGV has 2 GM elects, but let's not forget the top 2 boards of Mizzou are the 1-2 punch, Grigoriy Oparin and Mikhail Antipov. So do you think that that's a fair assessment, Nemo?
I think that's a very fair assessment. I definitely also am slightly in the favor of Mizzou. And this is also a call to everyone to make sure you're getting your predictions in. We're not gambling real money on these games, but you are able to gamble your prediction points, your channel points. And that's one of my favorite things to do. I would be putting a lot of money on Mizzou at this very current moment as I just see somebody go all in on UTRGV. So do make sure that you're listening to your casters and thinking carefully about who to put your channel points are. But we are going into the match very soon. As a reminder to everyone, this is 4 versus 4 team chess. All right? It's not just a one-man team. It's a four-person team. All the boards play against each other, so board rankings actually don't matter that much until tiebreakers. Time control is still 5+2, very fast-paced, very, very quick. So we'll get some very exciting games, and 8.5 points wins you the match. All our normal chess rules still apply. You get 1 point per win, 0.5 for a draw, as well as tie breaks if the score is tied after the 4 rounds. But we have only seen that on broadcast once. I have heard that there has been one other occasion of tiebreakers in Division 1. So maybe we'll see some very intense tiebreaks, but don't count on it. These teams are going to be battling it out in the very first 4 rounds. Joe, do you have like a point prediction? How many points do you think Mizzou is going to score?
Are we going back to this, Nima?
We are going back to this. I'm putting 10 subs on the line. And
um,
and, and chess.com's gonna put a free sub on anyone that types the correct score in chat.
wow. It's funny,
Wow.
you mentioned to the chat to put their points on the line and to listen to their casters. But I was gonna say we've been wrong plenty of times before, probably more times than not, honestly. Well, maybe not like with who's winning, but the exact score, it's very tough to get it right. I don't know if you and Danya did it yesterday.
Danya and I did not do it yesterday. Danya did not want to partake in the
Uh,
DJing, but we see Akila over here saying 9-7 for Mizzou, and I think 9-7 is very fair. I think I'm actually gonna squeeze it up a tiny bit and go for 9.5 for Mizzou and 6.5 for UTRGV.
Yeah, I'm actually really impressed by how UTRGV did yesterday. Like only 1 point difference between them and Dallas. And honestly,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Dallas could be a stronger team than Mizzou. I mean, we saw them win in the regular season. It's kind of a shame we're not seeing Dallas versus Mizzou in the playoffs in either finals, semifinals, or third place match. But I gotta give it to Mizzou. I just don't know by how much. I think this might also be 8.5, 7.5. So I'll stick with that.
Okay, 8.5, 7.5 is a very, very tight score. We do have kickoff for the games. Don't forget the games are on a 30-second stagger, so we are able to keep our eye out on all of the games and their openings. But we are watching board 4, I believe, at this very no, it's board 1.
This
I
is
always
Mizzou's
miss
board 4. Yeah.
Mizzou's board 4 versus yes, UTRGV's board 1. There we go. We figured it out. But these are going to be some pretty intense games. Benjamin Bok yesterday on the interview mentioned that he doesn't actually do any prep. He doesn't study his opponent's games. But I would imagine that's a little bit different for some of the players here. Obviously, Benjamin Bok is also playing in the European Team Championships, which you might have seen already. So he might be a little bit busier. But this is a very interesting opening coming out here from Raja. I feel like he has this isolated pawn on d4, but white has plenty of play on the c6 pawn. And it's actually showing with Sean's time going down a little bit.
Yeah, it's tough. Sean has to start off with the black pieces here as board 1. Although in the final round, when it's board 1 versus board 1, he'll have white. So that's helpful. But starting off with black, it's tough, especially against someone like Raja, who is coming off basically the bench. He's been a sub for a large part of the season. But now it's his time to shine, and he feels like maybe he has something to prove. Definitely starting off strong with the white pieces, maybe a little bit more prepped than his opponents.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely ready for this matchup. So you mentioned the time. Sean has invested a little bit more, maybe a little uncomfortable. We both sides actually have an isolated pawn, but the C pawn for black seems to be a little bit weaker. I'm curious to see how Raj is going to be able to target that, maybe putting a rook on c1 at some point.
Yeah, a lot of ideas over here. I mean, the C pawn is also really like an isolated backwards pawn, while the D pawn is more of just an isolated pawn. So a lot of play is going to be surrounding these pawns when it comes into the end game. But we will let these two battle it out in this middle game. It's fairly slow. Let's take a quick look at the bird's eye view before selecting our next game. Don't forget, there are 4 games happening at the very same time. This is the finals. It's getting pretty intense.
Yeah, third place match here. This is, as you said, the final match for these two teams. $1,000 on the line, which for college team is a lot. I actually was reached out to by some of the lower division teams saying they're going to put their prize money towards their Pan Am's fund, which is
Ooh.
really cool to see that we're giving those kind of opportunities to college teams to compete that maybe normally wouldn't have been able to compete. So, looking at Bird's Eye, though, I was wondering what game you wanted to look at.
I was thinking we can take a quick look at let's take a quick look at Antipov versus Yakub. It looks like it's another isolated pawn position, and I wanted to give some insight to the community on that one. Definitely a very what's the word for it? It's like a common position, like a tabia position. I don't think I have the correct word there, but it's around the theme of like it's a commonly known idea. So for example, here black has the isolated pawn, white, well, it's actually not even isolated. These are kind of hanging pawns. And in exchange, black has the bishops. So a very standard position here to play for both
Thematic?
colors. Yeah, not thematic. There's a very specific word that I am thinking of, and I think it's tabia.
I don't know what that is. I've never heard of.
Okay, it's
Yeah,
like a chess term where it just like it's standard until this position, and then it starts being
Buck?
like it's not even book. Okay, I really don't know how to explain the word, so I'm gonna
Right.
stop
Are
using
you
it.
thinking in
But
a different language, Nemo?
I think it is a different I'm pretty sure it's not English. I don't know what language it is,
Yeah.
but it's not English, yeah. But it's a term that my coaches would use telling me like, "Hey, Nemo, you have to know this position. Like this is a standard position. You
Mhm.
got to understand what you do here." Obviously, black has the hanging pawn, so white's idea is very simple. You just play against it, don't let them push up. And then black's idea is also really simple. Black always wants to try to push d4 in order to activate the light squared bishop over here, and also at the same time maybe try to push up c5. So Antipov has a lot to answer here actually in this position specifically, because this pawn is usually like if they're real hanging pawns, they're usually c5 and d5, but this pawn never made it up to c5. So white actually has a lot of play in this position with the knights coming up on the board.
Yeah, actually, a lot of people love to mention knights versus bishops, and in this game, we have the bishop pair versus the knight pair, which is very interesting. I'm not loving this bishop on a8 for Antipov. Uh, what's it doing over there?
What is it doing there is indeed correct, and that's why the pawn is usually supposed to be on c5. I think Yakub did a very good job of stopping the opponent's pawn pushes, and this is actually one of those cases where you see that 2 knights can actually be better than 2 bishops in an open position. And yeah, you might be like, "Well, how does this happen?" And the answer simply is that when you're playing these type of pawn structures, you got to be so familiar with them and you have to really understand how to play the middle games. Otherwise, you're going to get in these positions where 2 knights are indeed better. I mean, this knight on c5 is on an outpost, and d4 is almost an outpost. Realistically, this pawn is not going to get to c5 anytime soon. So, in this position specifically, knights are better. They're acting like an octopus. It's controlling all the squares around. It's pretty painful to play against.
Yeah, and just to maybe give some pointers for the chat, when you ever have a backwards pawn or an isolated pawn that you want to target and attack, the thing that you want to do most is control the square in front of it. Nemo's been mentioning pushing to c5, right? And that pawn is physically blocked from doing that as long as white keeps their knight on c5. As she mentioned, it's an outpost. So this is really well played by the two knights from Yakub. And I'm wondering if Antipov's gonna have any chance to break through and get out of this bind, because right now that C pawn is a sitting duck.
Yeah, that c pawn is a sitting duck, and even more annoyingly, I guess the bishop on an a8 is a sleeping duck. I don't know. It's not doing much. It's not going anywhere anytime soon. It's kind of just stuck defending c6 for a bit. So definitely don't envy Antipov's position here. But of course, Antipov being a grandmaster, it won't be his first time getting to a little bit of a pickle. And I'm actually not a huge fan of rook to b1. One of the ideas when you're attacking your opponent's weaker pawns is to actually keep major pieces on the board, because with minor pieces it's easier to defend. So I don't love the rook trade, and I think Jakub also decided he doesn't love the rook trade just now and actually moves rook to c1 back. He's like, yeah, you know what? Yeah, I remember what my coach told me. Major pieces are a little bit better in this situation. So he is going to preserve that rook. And I like that a lot for him, because more pieces on the board, more chances to attack. Although G3, sorry, looking quite ambitious here. But
Yeah,
of
computer
course,
gave him double question mark, really questioning G3 there. I don't know, Yakub last couple of moves, maybe not feeling so confident, right? Rook to B1, rook back to C1, G3, H4. Does he have a plan? Is he kind of shuffling?
yeah, we're seeing a lot of colored moves coming in here from Jakub, and not necessarily the better colors. I have recently learned on Chess.com that if your move is in a warm color, that is to say like an orange, a red, a pink, it's not a good move. If it's in a blue, it's a good move. So we're seeing a lot of yellow right now on the score sheet. You guys can't see it. But Yakub has been shuffling his pieces a little bit, and he hasn't really come up with a very clear plan of how to improve his position. And it's not a very easy position to improve in. I mean, even though we've been saying that this bishop is bad on a8, it does block this pawn from promoting. So, how are you really going to make progress? And I think that's the answer that Yakub is going to have to figure out. So, there's always the idea of rerouting your queen, moving this knight away at some point, finally going for that c6 pawn, but it can be very difficult.
Yeah, all good points. And I do want to point out, Raja actually got a point for Team Mizzou, which is huge because that's their board four, taking down UTRGV's top board. If that's how you start the match, that does not bode well for this Texas team.
That is not great indeed. I mean, we'll take a quick look at bird's eye view, where we will leave Jakub to figure out how to slowly push his position. Although he is losing his vantage every by the move, currently Gleb Dudin does have a very slight advantage. So how do you feel about jumping over there?
Let's do it.
Yeah, unfortunately, we have seen Raja take down Sean Lemieux already. Here we are seeing Luca from Mizzou play off against Gleb Dudin, who is an international master at this very current moment, but he is a grandmaster elect. So
And it looks like his lighting is better than yesterday as well. So upgrade.
I think this is the first time I have seen his face.
I think he just adjusted the camera angle.
Really?
Yeah,
Have you ever
the
seen his
lighting.
face before?
I've probably met Gleb in person, probably at
Oh,
like some Pan Ams or something.
okay.
But
Because
on broadcast, no, I agree.
yeah, I'm pretty sure this is my literal first time seeing his face. He always likes his very dark room. He enjoys that a lot, and honestly, don't blame him.
No, I mean his window is like pretty bright. It's just the lighting behind him, That's just lighting for your camera 101, right? Put the light
True.
source in front of you, not behind you.
True. Well, now we can be sure that it is in fact Gleb Dudden playing the game. And speaking of Gleb Dudden actually playing the game, I think rook to f6 might have been a slight inaccuracy, and he actually probably wanted to use this time to play d4. Um, and this is like a weirdly another sort of hanging pawn structure. He just had to be a little bit more aggressive, because after e takes, there's bishop takes, and all of a sudden this queen is pinned, and the bishop is going to attack the king as well. There's a lot of tactical ideas here. So unfortunately, he missed that. But let's see, let's go back to the game and see
Oh my
how it's
god.
currently oh, wow.
Luca is less than 10 seconds on his clock.
Less than 10 seconds, and also
2 seconds,
he
1 second, he's gotta move.
oh my
Oh my
gosh.
god. 2.7 he had on the clock. And look at Black's pieces, they're, like, maxed out in their potential. Taking on H3, White can't even take back,
Rook
but White's
H4
got
is
the
really
passed A
good.
pawn.
White does, but I don't know if it's gonna be enough. I think queen to B6, just defending it is going to be fine. Okay, he finds that.
Wow.
Very
There's
safe
your move
move.
played. Yeah, Rook A1. Oh, I know, love Rook D4. If White
Rook
takes, then
oh,
Bishop takes as a fork. Queen sack.
that's great, that works great. There was no queen ta rook
Oh my
takes because
god,
of rook
Queen
E1.
A1.
Wow, very
What
well
moves
played
from
game.
Gleb.
Whoa.
We have a lot of results coming in as well. Look at that fist pump from Gleb Duden. He loved that game, and I don't blame him. That was an awesome celebration.
That was a very nice end to the game, and we are gonna tune in, to Ekin versus Grigoriy.
Yeah, this is the Mizzou top board that we've been talking so highly about throughout the season, but looks like he's struggling here with only 20 seconds on his clock. But how's the position looking?
You know, the position's actually very balanced. Black has the exchange. Sorry, black is down in exchange, but has a pass pawn on G4. And it's very difficult for white to actually take this pawn on G4 because he has a dark squared bishop. So how white is going to capture this pawn is a mystery to me, unless you know, Oparin really throws. I think Akin is going to comfortably draw this position, but neither side has real, I would say, winning chances. If anything, white has very slight winning chances, but there's really not much that white can do. There's
Yeah,
not
and
much to improve, not much he can do to improve his position.
do you take the rook though? I feel like you have to favor the rook.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. White definitely the one with the winning chances, I would say. But how he's going to win, I don't know. And also after king to g3, knight takes c4, king takes, it's not even that clear anymore. Like, yes, you have a rook and you still have a pawn, but these pawns are going to come rolling. So if white's not careful and doesn't defend the e pawn correctly and stop this passed pawn, white can also be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, at some point you kind of have to favor the extra pawn, right? If it
Mm-hmm.
promotes. So still even and balanced, but very tricky nonetheless, especially in time pressure.
Okay, now it is a theoretical draw. If this pawn ever comes off, it's still a draw.
Okay.
Yeah, so that they have agreed to the draw.
So what's that put us at for the match score? Looks like Mizzou is up by 1 point.
Yeah, Mizzou is going to be up by 1 point. 2.5 to 1.5. Yakub unfortunately did not manage to hold a draw in his slightly better position, which is unfortunate for the UTRGV team. They do need every point they can get. And Sean going down on board 1 is not a great sign. But do you think UTRGV is going to have better chances as the match goes on, or do you think round 1 was where they had all their best shots?
Well, there's still so much chess left to be played. I think UTRGV definitely has plenty of chances to come, but I do think that as the match goes on, it might favor Mizzou more and more. So we're gonna have to stay tuned to find out. I do want to mention Antipov played a really good game after his bishop was trapped in the corner. I think Jacob let him off the hook. He moved that knight on c5 that we were talking about and allowed him to push that pawn through, and that allowed his bishops to activate after Fuss made some kingside Swiss cheese moves around his king.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that these players are obviously very experienced and they've been in these tough situations before where they're in must-win cases. So here we're going to actually see Sean play into the French. I've never been a fan of the French. I'm also not a fan of the advanced French though for white. So honestly, both sides treatment of the French is currently not impressing me very much. So let's see how these top players really know their openings.
Nemo not impressed. She knows her French, but I
Well, I wouldn't even say
imagine.
I know my French. I didn't say I know my French. All I said is I think the French is a what I'm trying to say is I think the French is a subpar opening.
Mm, I mean, is it questionable for Luca to be playing it, or do you think he's doing it because his opponent is French Canadian?
Ooh, that would be pretty funny, actually. I mean, I really want there to be an opening for like every single country in the world. I've been on this mission to like find funny sounding openings and like all these like names and stuff. So I don't actually know if there's like a Serbian opening or anything like that. But yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the French because I think the French bishop is very sad and also white gets a lot of space. Obviously, this is black's plan, right? Like black is okay with this. They're playing this opening knowing that. Hopefully, for the most part.
Does
And then
Sean
they're
know?
going to I'm sure Luca knows that he's gonna get a slightly passive opening for the
Uh,
first few moves, and then he's gonna strike back later.
yeah, I mean
That's usually how it
G4,
works.
very aggressive from Sean, and I gotta ask, does the king still plan on castling kingside, or what's the plan typically here?
Definitely. The king is definitely still planning on castling kingside. There is no castling queenside in the French. Your pawn structure is just a little too ruined in most cases, and you would actually be surprised. The pawn on g4, while it might seem like your position gets a little bit more holy, it's not that bad, and also there's no need to necessarily castle. You know, like the king can also sit on f1 for a little bit. I mean, right now there's actually not even really a good check or anything by black, so unless black opens up the center, the king doesn't even have to worry. So a lot of like ideas here that, you know, I think Sean is probably going to try maybe h4. He played g4 already. H4 seems pretty natural to me, but we'll
Just
see.
open.
Oh, b4 though.
Wow, G4 and B4. So you mentioned it's a holy position. So maybe Sean is using this time to take his opponent to church on a Sunday.
Yeah, I am not sure where B4 is going. I'm really not certain. I can't tell you. But like I was saying, I don't think Sean's too worried about his king at the very least. So maybe his pawn pushes are just to assert dominance.
For sure. I mean, B4, bishop into, I mean, maybe neither side's going to castle.
Yeah, maybe neither side's gonna castle. I think for black, it's much more okay to castle long though. Your pawns are not on a4 and a3 and b4 with the black pieces. I think that's okay. I think that's all right.
Well, castle, maybe like rook c1, and maybe white can use those pawns to push b5, a4, a5 at some point. Yeah, rook g8, and now castle's queenside.
There we
And
go.
I'm starting to wonder if this actually is going to backfire on Sean to be extending so much on both sides.
It really might. It really is starting to feel that way, isn't it? It feels like this is why people do play the French. Obviously, the French is not actually a bad opening for black. You just do need a very good handle of how to play it after the opening because white has overextended in the French advance. And now black is taking advantage, taking back control of the center. He's got these ideas with pushing e5. Bishop to e3 here is to stop e5 very specifically because then there is d takes e5. So unfortunately, bishop e3 also has the issue of getting trapped. So Sean has a lot of issues in this position. A lot of issues.
Yeah, so does the bishop go to g5 now with tempo, or is that going to help black put the rook on like c8?
I think it's going to help black put the rook on c8. I think you're completely correct there, Joe.
So we do see bishop g5 though, because like you said, f4 is just such a strong threat to deal with, and
Yep.
an interesting rook doesn't go to c8. Instead
Well,
says, "I'm opposite your king, and you can't castle, or you could castle kingside."
yeah.
Oh, one. Okay, so
King of
that solves the problem.
one. That's what I was telling you about earlier, right? Like if you're getting e5 in as black, you're pretty comfortable because the king's still in the middle of the board. So I don't really like how Sean played this French advance. I've been saying that since the start. Never been very impressed with the French advance, not very impressed with Sean's representation of the French advance here, but obviously I think something went wrong in his opening preparation and he should not have allowed either e takes f6, f6 e takes f6 to happen so early where he's missing the center, or maybe he shouldn't have pushed the pawn so much. Whatever it is, he's going to be in a world of pain going to this middle game.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe Sean can try to get some momentum of his own with b5 and try to open up the queen side a bit. But uh, before we see any pain inflicted here, did you want to tune into some of the other games?
Let's do it. Also, thank you very much to Benjamin as well as Hunter Wiz for the raids. We appreciate a lot. We're currently watching the Collegiate Chess League. Benjamin just raided us. Isn't Benjamin playing later today?
Yeah, so Ben is wrapping up his stream for the European Team Championship, and stay tuned for that because he's actually going to be live again later with the Collegiate Chess League finals, which we're covering here. So appreciate the raid. If you're coming in from Bok's channel, definitely stay tuned because you're going to be seeing him playing later in about an hour.
Thank you very, very much, Benjamin. Also, I hope you won in your European teams. All right, let's take a quick look at some of the other games. All this is 5+2 teams of 4, and Grigoriy Oparin from Mizzou is currently crushing. Shall we take a look at that one? The position doesn't look necessarily as bad as the eval bar says, so we'll get in here really quick. He's currently playing against Jakob Fuss, who unfortunately did lose his first game after we were commending him for playing really good positional chess for a stretch of his middle game.
Yeah, I definitely want to see why the eval bar loves this position for Grigori. And it's an opposite color bishop game, which is notorious for being very drawish. So, what exactly is the difference in this game in particular?
I would say a large part of it is the extra pawn that Grigori has, and also this e pawn is a weak backwards pawn, right? So Jakub is going to have to commit a lot of resources to defending it because he definitely doesn't want to be 2 pawns down. We do know that opposite color bishop endgames are oftentimes a draw, but with 2 rooks on the board, there is still a lot that Oparin can play for. And the more pieces that are on the board, the less drawish having opposite color bishops is. So when you think about that, thinking about the end game, Jakub is just in a world of pain. Like he has no chances to win this end game, short of obviously a blunder from Oparin. But he could defend this to a draw potentially. It's just going to be very difficult considering black can never really play h takes g5 because then f takes g5 and then you always have this chance of creating an outside pass pawn.
Mhm.
G6 here, just absolutely killing black's king. The king can't go to e7 because the bishop on f5 would fall due to this pin. So then the king just is going to sit on f8. And I don't know. It's completely white's game. It's just white's game.
Yeah, is bishop c5 a check to worry about? Or, okay, a4 is kind of a gambit, but I guess rook a5 or a1 will just pick up a pawn back.
Indeed. Sorry, I just got distracted by the chat. Akila saying Benjamin Bok hype man hyperventilating, and I'm just thinking, does like Benjamin tell his hype man when he's like going to be on broadcast, when he's like on a show or something? Because I swear, I see that kid every single time Benjamin is anywhere, and I'm just like, how does he know? Does he just have all of the tabs open, is ready to be in a chat if Benjamin's there? Like, what do you think his thought process is, Joe?
Well, I've heard a rumor that Benjamin Bok hype man could just be a Benjamin Bok alt account, which would
True.
explain a lot of things. I'm not saying I believe it, but it makes sense. No.
Honestly, I think that's the most plausible answer, right? Like, otherwise, how is he just everywhere?
Yeah, has anyone seen Benjamin Bok hype man and Benjamin Bok in the same room before?
Yeah, exactly. That's what we're asking.
I think if that actually happened, maybe we'd see a fan pass out or something.
Yeah.
But ooh, I like F5 and just trying to get some trades.
Yes, I was just about to point out if e takes f5, this is hardly a trade because bishop c5 actually leads to checkmate. So obviously, if you move your king, then there's just rook takes e8, and this is checkmate for everybody. So there was no e takes f5 there, sadly, and I think Jakub is unfortunately going to have to. Well, he doesn't have to resign the game, obviously, but he is still in a world of pain.
The position's bad when Nemo's calling for you to resign.
Well, I just very much personally dislike playing positions where I'm getting slowly crushed in an
Mhm.
endgame by a 3000 rated grandmaster. Like, I have to admit, anytime I've been in that scenario in an endgame, it has been very unfun. So, just for like Jakub's sanity, I would say this is not a fun position to play. I mean, this king can't even really exit, but rook takes c3 here is a free pawn.
Wow,
However,
nice.
Jakub seems very scared of rook to d8.
Yeah, now we see the resignation. So with
Yeah, now
a
we see
second
it.
left on his clock, he didn't want to play anymore. There was no defending G7. But yeah, really well played there by Oparin. So that is the first result of round two. And we've got 3 games remaining. So let's take a look at what we can look at next. Maybe Antipov looks to be crushing there on board 4.
Antipov does look to be crushing. A lot of crushing endgames today. As some of you guys might be aware, a lot of really strong players enjoy going to the endgame and actually converting that endgame. And here it looks like there's no way for Ekin to stop this promotion. It's his turn, but there's practically nothing he can do.
Short from just sacrificing the piece.
Right. Short of playing knight takes c7, which he does, because otherwise, you don't want your opponent having a free queen. But also now he's just playing this endgame down a whole piece, which is also painful.
And rook to c5 looks really annoying.
Yeah, your king is sort of just out here in the open. So, I I mean, you're not getting checkmated, but
It feels close.
it feels very close. Here, rook c5, king a6 is obviously a repetition of moves, so you don't play that, but rook to d6, potentially maybe going to d7, also threatening. Oh, wow. There
That's
we
the
go.
checkmate.
There's the
Wow.
checkmate.
Was that forced?
It was not forced because Ekin did not have to play um f takes g3 here. So it's still very painful though. I think he can play king a5. So this is not a check. But then also
Mhm.
like how do you stop checkmate? I guess there's rook e6, and so yeah, it's
Yeah.
essentially forced, but very nice mating net coming in from Antipov, putting Mizzou at 5 points total, and we'll take another quick look at Brid's Eye as we have one draw coming in from Gleb Dudin against Harshit Raja. So
Yeah, and the final game of the round looks to be wrapping up shortly. Looks like Black has a ton of material and advantage, and Sean's down to his last second.
wow. Sean not giving up
Not give it up.
with one queen on the board. Okay, no
Oh,
no
that's
pieces
super
on the
tough.
board.
Stalemate. Go queen f4 and hope for a
Yeah.
queen takes f7 pre-move.
Yeah, but no, Sean decides that he's had enough with the position and actually ends up resigning. So, um
Okay.
tough first 2 rounds
Yeah.
for UTRGV.
Mizzou is putting on the heat right now, Nemo, and my prediction's looking pretty bad. Although we all predicted Mizzou to win, but I think they're trying to end the season with a bang and proving that they are much stronger than how they performed yesterday.
They are definitely planning on ending the season with a bang. So, as a reminder, this is the third place match. Mizzou has stepped up with putting a grandmaster on their board 4 as well, whereas yesterday they had Josiah Sturman. So these players, the Mizzou team has been absolutely crushing it all season. Yesterday, they did look like they lost quite badly to SLU, but of course, still a very strong team for grandmasters. UTRGV, the first round's currently not quite doing well enough to counter the strength of Mizzou. And I also have to say, unfortunately, Sean and Yakub are not having the best day so far. I mean, 0 out of 2, it definitely happens. Everybody has bad days. But I would also say I don't think I saw Sean get a very comfortable position coming out of the opening. It's looked like he struggled a little bit in the middle game. What do you think, Joe?
No, I definitely agree. There's something that seems to be off, and potentially it could be like all their energy was spent yesterday in the big state rivalry match between UT Dallas and them, and maybe they're looking forward to trying to play in the finals today. But of course, you can't just let that bring you down. You still have 2 rounds to go. You got to give it your all. It's the end of the season. Lay it all out on the line. This is also it's college chess, so some of these players might be graduating soon. You never know how many opportunities you're going to get to play.
Absolutely. And let's take this moment to shout out the incredible Chess.com college ambassadors and chess clubs who have done some amazing work to spread the game on college campuses around the world. We want to recognize the ambassadors at the University of Michigan, IIT Kanpur, Yale University, Rochester Institute of Tech, University of Southern California, University of Benin, and Tulane University for their fantastic representation of chess at their Club Fair days. Massive thanks to all the college ambassadors for all that you do. And if you're interested in becoming a college ambassador yourself, you do not have to be a grandmaster. All you have to do is use command CAP in the chess.com chat to learn more. Stick around. The CCL third place match will be continuing right after this break.
And Carlitos opens with a perfect serve, pawn to d4. Black returns with a nice forehand to e6. Ouch, that piece just got captured at 127 miles per hour. Amazing! That's another 3 points for Alcaraz. Oh no, that's an unforced error. It's a match point. Alcaraz winds up for the move. It's game, set, and checkmate.
We developed a knight out to f6, and after nearly any of white's moves, for example, short castle, we play b5, bishop to b3, and bishop c5, and this is the introduction to the Archangel. My name is Fabian Caruana, and I'm a chess grandmaster, and here I welcome you to my course, Caruana's Ruy Lopez Dark Archangel. This course will provide you with a full repertoire with the black pieces against the Ruy Lopez. So let's say after h5, white plays h3, because white can always take on b6. Black plays h4, bishop h2, g4. We've seen this idea, we need to open up the king side. We need to play for the initiative. Take, and we take with the knight. And the idea is to play h3. We also always have the option to take on h2, and if knight takes b6, rook b6, it doesn't really change anything, because we still have many attacking pieces. Knight on g4, knight on g6, pawn h3 coming, and rook h8 coming. All of black's army is actually concentrated at white's king side.
Everyone loves playing chess, and everyone loves Chess Club. But there's also a time and a place for playing all your favorite games.
Hey, we're trying to have a lesson here. You need to get out of here.
Recently, more kids have been playing chess than ever in school. But sadly, we've learned that they may not always be playing chess at the most appropriate time.
Eh ben classe, aujourd'hui...
While it might be sometimes okay to grab a game between classes, or if your teacher gives you permission and hasn't given you an assignment, it's not okay to be playing chess in school when you aren't supposed to. And chess should never come between you taking your studies seriously and cooperating with your fellow students and teachers. Chess over the board or on the phone is a great way to spend time with friends. But let's make sure that this school year, we don't let too much chess happen in the classroom. Focus on your school, because Chess.com will always be there when class is over.
Chess is cool! Respect your school!
All right, that was awesome, everybody. Great job.
Look what I did.
Danny, did you spell that?
Yeah,
Can we get some other letters, please?
what's wrong with it?
Welcome back to the semifinals of the 2023 Collegiate Chess League presented to you by SIG. Don't forget, you can use gaming skills in your career. Apply at sig.com/chess. Right now, you're watching UTRGV play against Mizzou, but we have even more chess for you after this. The championship match is going to happen in just, under an hour between UT Dallas and SLU, two of the very, very best teams in the entire world. Isn't that right, Joe?
That is definitely right, and we have seen these teams compete already before. They're looking to claim their championship. So one last match of the season left on the line. So I'm really excited to see who's going to win that one. They're going to lay it all out on the line and give us their best. So that's going to be super exciting. But so far in this matchup here today, we've been watching UTRGV and Mizzou. We've seen the first two rounds already, the first half of the match, and we're about to see round 3 begin. But I wanted to ask you, Nemo, what's been so surprising so far?
Honestly, I think I might have expected UTRGV to perform a little bit better. I wouldn't say that I'm disappointed or anything like that. I'm just saying, seeing the board one, as well as Jakub go 0-2 the first two rounds, definitely never a good sign for your team when that happens. So Mizzou is currently leading UTRGV 6-2.
Yeah, and
6-2.
I want to point out Antipov is perfect so far with 2 wins out of 2 games. And like you mentioned, their top board from UTRGV, Sean, your fellow Canadian countryman, has started off with 2 zeros against Mizzou's bottom 2 boards, actually. Now he has Antipov and Oparin in the second half. Do you think that break between round 2 and 3 is going to help him out? Maybe get him more collected, and does he fare a better chance against the top 2 boards, or is it going to just be a blowout?
Well, I definitely hope that it's going to put him in a better form, because right now anything is probably better than how the last 2 games went. Not to say that he played terribly or anything like that, but it definitely I've definitely seen better from him in the past couple of days, and I think he can play some amazing chess. So definitely want to see more from him. And maybe maybe he looked at some openings during the break. He definitely has the time to look at some of Antipov's games and, look up a line that he's more comfortable with potentially. So hope so.
Yeah, and only 2 rounds left potentially in the entire season unless we see overtime. But these players, I mean, if you only have 2 games left in the season, you're going to try to end on 2 wins. So we'll see if UTRGV can make the comeback here. They're down by 4 points, which is quite a disadvantage here. Reminder, you only need 8.5 points to win, and Mizzou's only 2.5 points away with 8 games remaining.
Indeed. I mean, I think going into this position right now, Antipov is playing it very, very solid. He's got this isolated pawn to I on d5. Very easy game for him. He just needs to park a knight in front of d4. We've seen these type of structures a few times already today, so pretty slow chess. And it's all going to come down to that knowledge of the middle game and how familiar you are with isolated pawns. How familiar are you with playing with pair bishops against pair knights again? Same usual.
Yeah, I mean, we see Antipov starting off with blockading with bishop to d4. Notice all 3 minor pieces for white control the d4 square. Like that
Yeah.
pawn is never pushing.
Yep. That's how you play against an isolated pawn, and it's really tough in this position as well. Right now, obviously, queen takes d5 is potentially a threat, but you don't want to play that because the bishop can take on h3 with a discovered attack right after, so this is not a free pawn. But swapping off queens is actually not my favorite. I think I talked a little bit about how I like to keep my major pieces on the board, but of course he was also stopping queen takes f2. So there was reason for that. But now the queen's being swung over to g6, and there's some ideas with bishop to h3 because the g pawn was pinned.
Yeah, queen g6 is both aggressive and defensive. It's defending the g7 pawn, which white's hitting twice. But as you pointed out, maybe the main threat is a sneaky little checkmate if bishop h3, queen g2 could be played. But we see king h2 getting out of the g file. And This knight on e4 is actually kind of annoying. Is there a good way for white to try to get rid of it?
I don't think there is at this current moment, or he doesn't need to get it out of the way at this very current moment. But I, I'm not entirely sure if like knight to d2 wants to be played, because when you take, the pawn's gonna take. So we'll see how Antipov really deals with that. But I think at the current moment he's much more worried about these random sacrifices that can potentially happen on the king side. It looks like black is just setting up for some tactics every single move. He's just like, well, I'm going to threaten this and let's see how you react.
Yeah, Sean's saying, I don't care if my D pawn is weak or isolated. I'm going to activate all my pieces to their full potential. And we see Antipov's trying to get rid of this light square bishop that you mentioned, potentially sacrificing. But Sean's going to pin the knight to the queen, bishop to c5. That was one of the few pieces not actively involved in this fight. So now it's pinning the knight. Do you think that Sean would want to give up his bishop pair for this knight? Probably not, right?
I don't think so. It doesn't do enough for Sean because there's always another knight that's going to come right in. But it's definitely giving some threats. You know, you can't move your knight away. This is a pin. There's always tactics when there's you know, a pin. Oh, wait a minute. Isn't that a free? Wait, f6. Okay, f6, bishop to f4, and now g5 looks very scary.
G5. Well, what if we just went bishop to G3?
If you go bishop to g3 immediately, I think you just have bishop takes h3.
Wow.
Yeah, and now you have knight takes g3 because this is a discovered attack.
Wow, so you're going to have to face the wrath of f6, g5, g4 if black goes for it.
Yep, pretty scary stuff. However, bishop g4, not quite having the same punch as f6 g5 does. So this seems interesting.
Yeah, but bishop to g4 still opens up sacrifice ideas. However, black needs the move f6 in order to defend the rook on e8 with the queen. So yeah, kind of getting into a crazy position here.
This position is definitely a lot of fun for Sean, and this is exactly what he needed coming off of this break, to not be 0-2. But I think Antipov has every chance to actually defend this position. And with queen takes f3, queen takes f3, g takes f3, rook takes c7, I think this endgame is going to slightly favor Sean. Of course, far from over.
Yeah, so Antipov goes for this queen trade, and that could help alleviate some pressure. In the meantime, do you want to take a look at some of the other games that we have going on?
Let's do it. A quick bird's eye view. Once again, Mizu is very, very close to actually just wrapping this entire match up. They only need 8.5 to win the match. And we are currently seeing Gleb Duden. I think we have to tune into that game. I mean, it's almost entirely white. So what's going on here, Gleb?
Goodness. Yeah, Gleb we saw had a really big win in the first round. He had a couple fist bumps, but he is no longer smiling. This is a tough position. Can we go back and see how he got here?
Yeah, let's go back a few moves. So I think it all started with f takes e5, d takes e5, queen to g3. Not a free bishop. This is actually pinning the queen over here with the pawn on e5 pinned. So knight to d5, very good. I don't like knight to d7. Knight to d7 feels too passive to me. Obviously, you're trying to defend the e5 pawn, but I don't think that's very topical right now. I don't think you have the time. And you actually had to go bishop d6, giving up this knight, and then actually just taking this bishop on e4. So I think this is what Gleb probably missed. He might have just played knight to d7 without thinking too much about it, and all of a sudden he is in a world of pain because half of his pieces are still in the back rank.
Yeah, knight f6 check, defended by the rook on f1, and the g pawn is pinned. So king moves, pretty much the only move, and now the knight on f6 is hanging, but does white have some sort of knockout? Like, is knight h5 an idea here?
Knight h5 can definitely be an idea, but I don't think you even need to play that. Bishop takes e5, taking advantage of this pin, and also taking advantage of the fact that if she takes f6, there's bishop. Oh, there's not bishop takes f6 because the queen
Or
is
can
hanging.
too. Yeah,
Yeah, can't do that, but you can just take on d6.
exactly.
There we go.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
free
actually such
bishop.
an interesting idea. I'm wondering if
Wow.
there's bishop takes on e5 because that comes with tempo on our queen.
Ooh. I think he was
Oh, we
thinking
see the
about that
exchange move
too.
first.
So he heard your thought, and his answer to that was, I'm just going to play rook takes d6 first. So now my opponent can't even play bishop takes e5, taking the queen first. This is just some very good gameplay by Oparin, like finding the best tactics. Rook takes d6 was actually awarded a brilliant by
Wow.
Chess.com. So thank you, Chess.com, for making us feel better about our moves. We always appreciate that. We like that outside approval. But here after rook takes d6, queen takes d6, bishop takes e5. If knight takes e4, there's going to be knight takes e4, and the pawn on g7 is going to hang. So if you move your queen, obviously, then there's also just knight takes h7, and or the knight can simply move away, and you're
Yeah.
just getting checkmated. So very tough position for black, and he actually
Ooh, resigned.
resigns. Oof.
Wow, what a clean win with white from Oparin. That is a dominant game there, and
Mm-hmm.
this is actually not going to go well for UTRGV if this kind of dominance continues. So Mizzou definitely looking to end on a win here. UTRGV kind of shell-shocked after these first 2 rounds, and it seems to be continuing, although we still have 3 games left, and looks like there's actually hope for UTRGV just yet on game 4.
There definitely is. I think Ekin has had an okay event thus far, but this is the place where he is going to get this point. I don't want to say that too early, but it's looking like he has comfortably the passed pawns on g2 and h3. A very easy win right now would be actually queen takes f7, and then you know that in a rook endgame, this is 100% winning. But it looks like what Akin is doing here is actually pressuring. Oh, well, I was going to say.
He wants it all, Nemo.
He wants it all. He wants a third pawn, too. I mean, he should just defend this for fun. Okay, he's not going to, but he could. He could. He could
Yeah,
defend that for fun.
Rook A2's like super passive, but he's opting to give up the B pawn and keeping his rook on A5, cutting this king off to his half of the board. And yeah, white's just gonna march the pawns up. And is there any drawing technique here for black, or white's just gonna convert this?
There's no drawing technique here. I mean, there is always a chance that white accidentally stalemates, but this is a table-based win for white. Very well studied position. Um, it's one of the things that you see first when you open Fretsky. There's like a lot of analysis done in this position, and white is just completely crushing. It's not that difficult to play because the king is just sort of stuck on h8. And with the pawns, you're actually always able to hide the king in the back. So now you can just reroute your king all the way over and then push the other pawn up. But don't stalemate. That's important.
Mm-hmm. I love this rook a7 check from white. If the king had stepped up to h6, then g5 would have been a checkmate. So, yeah. And actually, I think blocking here with the rook makes a lot of sense. I don't know if it'll block with the pawn at some point, but now white can push the pawns, right?
Yeah, a lot of ways you can win this position. But g6, h6, obviously the pawns just come marching down.
All right, so yeah, that's going to be a win for UTRGV. Oznir going to take down Grandmaster Luca. So it looks like we also have another result coming in with Raja and Fuss getting a draw. So maybe we take a look back at Sean's game if we want to tune in for Bird's Eye.
Yep, we'll take a quick look at Sean's game. Ekin will be wrapping that up very, very shortly. Unfortunately, if Mizzou wins one game, they're winning the match.
Wow. Wow, with a round to spare. So Antipov is the favorite in this one. Sean's got a second. They're both less than 5 seconds.
Oh, it's
Take a
actually
vote.
like this endgame looks like it could almost be a draw, but sadly, white is just too close to black's pawns.
Yeah, look at that technique. The
Yeah,
knight's
I
gonna
think
trap the pawn and the bishop, and that
yep,
should be over.
it's going to be over. Yeah, I mean we were actually seeing two different endgames with the two passers here on the side of the board, and both of them are winning for the side with the two passers. Very hard to defend against two connected pass pawns.
This might be Sean's only 0-3 start of the entire season.
I think it is. I mean, I've seen Sean play a bunch, and he's always performed pretty like decent, or if not like exceptional. He's always done very well. Today, I don't know what it is. He's just had a rough day. I mean, UT RGV is a very good school, but Mizzou just proving that they are the better team, at least with this current lineup. They did pull up Harjit Raja in for their board 4 with 1 round to go. Mizzou has actually won the match.
Wow. 8.5 to 3.5 after only 3 rounds. I'm gonna need a UTRGV sweep in the 4th round for my prediction to come true. 8.5.
Yeah. I
don't
think
it's gonna
I
happen.
predicted 9.5. So, you know, I'm also pretty far from it.
Yeah, you need UTRGV to get 3 points in this last round. But congratulations nonetheless to Mizzou. We are going to see this 4th round played out just as tradition for the match format. So 4 games left in this 3rd place match. 4 games left in the season for these two teams. So congrats again to Mizzou on ending in 3rd place and guaranteeing themselves $1,000 in prizes. And UTRGV, maybe not the result they wanted these last 2 days, but still a very commendable season for them, ending 4th overall and still winning $500.
Yeah. I also do want to remind everyone that you know, Mizzou didn't just accidentally luck into having a 4-man grandmaster team. They are a scholarship chess school. So if you are really good at chess wherever you are in the world, you are able to apply for a chess scholarship in certain schools that offer them. And if you get in, there are different requirements obviously, but you can play on the Collegiate Chess League, for example. You can obviously also play on whatever other chess tournaments you want to play in. They're pretty lenient about that for the most part. So if you have a career in chess, you can also have a career in school. It's pretty fun. They get to study and play chess with their friends, or I assume
Yeah.
they're friends.
We hope they're friends.
We hope
But
they're friends.
I also want to mention you don't have to be a grandmaster to play college chess or any sort of master, because the Collegiate Chess League has 23 divisions, all based off of average team rating.
I
So
get
we
that
will be
wrong
watching the
every
top.
single time.
Well, I mean, every season the number's changing, so we're constantly growing. We had 14 divisions last year, now we're at 23, and it's just mind-boggling to see how much college chess has grown, and it's awesome to see uh, not only chess being played at the top level in college, but at all levels. So I think the lowest division, their team average rating is actually below 800. So I know a lot of you out there in chat have played chess at some point. You don't have to be over 1,000 or over 2,000 or whatever to play. You could have any rating and join, and I highly recommend it. It's free to join, and the Collegiate Chess League gives out $50,000 in prizes every school year, not even counting Chess.com memberships. So it's a great way to play and to represent your school and to play on a team with a bunch of friends, like Nemo said.
Yeah, absolutely. But we do cover Division 1 because these are some of the strongest players, not only in the Collegiate Chess League, but also in their country. Jean Rodriguez Lemieux has really come up as one of the best Canadian players ever, really. He just got his last Grandmaster norm fairly recently and is going to become a Grandmaster title. Going to have the Grandmaster title fairly soon, as soon as FIDE hands it out to him.
Yeah,
So
pick it
some
up.
really strong players here. Yeah. Yeah.
They're delaying his GM title on Chess.com. He's showing I am there, and same with Gleb Duden, I believe.
Yes. But this game is going to be well, they do not have to play for a win. Mizzou does not have to play for a win. They have already won the match. But obviously, it's always fun to play against a really strong opponent. And a lot of these players are around the same age. So they might have grown up playing against each other, and they might also be playing in European teams as well. So a lot of these players are not necessarily always even on the same team. They can be on opposite teams, but in the spirit of chess, they are going to be battling it out here. And actually, I'm not a huge fan of Sean's position currently. Although Grigory's king is in the center, after e takes f4, bishop takes f4. There are going to be a lot of ideas on Sean's king, but black does have to figure out what he's going to do with his own.
Yeah, this is actually a very double-edged kind of position. I think it's very interesting how the e file gets opened up, and that king of Oparin's is going to have to go uncastled. But uncastled king doesn't seem to be too big of a deal here for Oparin. We see queen to f6, lining up ideas on b2. So c3 is pushed, which might be a weakness in the long run. And what's white's bishop doing on a2 exactly?
I don't know what this bishop is doing on a2. I have no idea. It's just hanging out there, apparently.
It's just hanging out, just hang around.
I mean, it's like one of those things that are, it's like the bad bishop that Oparin had in the very first game that we saw against where Sean played. Not Oparin, sorry, Antipov.
Antipov, yeah.
But I don't think he was too worried about it. I don't think Antipov was too worried, and I don't think Sean should be that worried because he'll probably get it out at some point. It's not like there's a big emergency to do that. So, I think we can take a quick look at Bird's Eye. They are going to be playing this slower endgame. I saw that eval bar creep in favor of Jakub as well as Ekin. So let's take a quick look at Jakub's game against Luca.
These are the board threes battling it out here, and I definitely see black is getting in some infiltration on the queen side. There's a pass pawn on a4 already, and we could see some trades of the bishops, and the a pawn seems to be ready to continue pushing, although right now it's doing a very important job of defending the knight that's anchored on b3, which is kind of a nuisance on the side.
Definitely. I mean, I think this position is actually really, really easy to play for Jakub. He's got the pass pawn on a4. He doesn't have to take immediately back on this bishop. I think rook takes d1 is actually better. So then white has one less piece to defend against the pass pawn.
Yeah, and this pawn on e4 right now is kind of annoying as well. So we see the knight move up, putting pressure on e4, but the
knight's
computer
just
doesn't
trapped.
like this.
It's just trapped. It's just trapped. Queen e7, the knight's just trapped. Like, there's nothing you can do. Queen e7, if you play h3 here, for example, there's h6. And now when you go knight to h3, rook takes d1, rook takes d1. You don't even want to take this pawn necessarily. I think this knight's just so out of the play that you can now play a3.
Yeah, a3, and that's protected by the queen on e7. So the queen's doing something important there, right? You said don't take on h4. So yeah, just pushing that pawn, and if you can get a2, a1 is protected by the knight, but we don't see this.
Yeah. Okay, well, I mean, h6 is no longer a free knight, so I understand Jakub trying to defend the e4 pawn. But I still think this pawn push. You have a pass pawn, you want to push it.
Yeah,
like that's
real
just what you
good.
want to do when you have a pass pawn. There's like a very famous chess bra like meme or something. I don't know if it's a meme, but they have like a saying.
Yeah,
I try to
yeah,
I don't I don't venture there too often, but
push 'em,
they have
baby.
some great lines. Exactly, that one.
That's that's a classic Yasser quote for sure.
Classic Yasser quote. Yes, when you have a pass pawn, you want to push them.
Yeah, well, a4 is just hanging out right now, so definitely one of the more pushable pawns that I've seen. But sometimes if you overextend, those pawns can get weak and can fall off. So I think right now Black's just playing positionally, right? There's no rush. Just trying to get some trades, and in due time, I think that advantage can be pushed through. But it is important, though. You don't want to wait too long because sometimes your advantage can slip away.
Yeah, exactly. And once again, Yasser's quote is just now living rent-free in my head. Push him, baby. A3, most logical move in this position. The queen and the knight are also on the wrong side of the board. So you have every opportunity in this position to just go for it. And like, why not? Why not go for it?
Yeah, push and make white react to it, defend, and figure it out from there. Is that your advice to Yakub?
Obviously, yes. I
Yeah.
mean, it's like it's one of those tactics, where you are better, you're better, and the move just feels so natural. You should just go for it. Right now, push A3. Oh my god, he's not pushing A3. This is
Nemo's
actually
no longer
stressing me out.
asking; she's demanding.
He wants
Um,
everything to be perfect before he pushes A3, which I can also understand. He doesn't want to lose this pass pawn at all. But like, White's pieces were so far away. Yeah. That like
yeah,
I think that was the perfect opportunity to push A3 because this knight is so out of commission. This queen is hanging out on G4.
yeah, and this might be Yakub maybe worrying about White's ideas. The queen is on the G file. This knight maybe could go to H5 at some point. So queen on E5. Definitely more centralized, guarding G7. But yeah, not pushing the A pawn, and now White has the rook on the second rank, maybe helping protect A2 a little bit. But I do want to point out we have a result: Antipov getting a big win against Duden. Um, I feel like Antipov did really well today. I don't know. I can't remember how he did in the third round.
I do think that he has gotten wins in the last rounds, but I could be wrong. Honestly, I haven't been keeping very close track of the score because Mizzou has been completely
It's just
uh
over.
yeah, it's been over, but also I'm just personally invested in Yaku pushing A2. I just don't understand why he's not pushing it. This is like giving me very slight like I am obsessed with the fact that he has A2. I mean, sorry, A3. He can push it. It's a pawn. It's a pass pawn. Why is it not being pushed?
This goes against every instinct in Nemo's body. She's dedicated to see this pawn push. We're gonna stick to this game until A3 is played. You don't even you don't want to look at anything else until A3 is played.
Well, I just don't understand. It's more like I don't understand. I mean, I get it. He's like triple, quadruple, pentagonally making sure that like when he pushes it, he's gonna promote it. But like he needs to listen to some Yasser Seirawan.
Yeah, that's funny. Pentagonally. So okay, Queen C4 attacking A4. You think this is gonna be the motivation that he needs to finally push that pawn?
Now is a bad time to push A3 because
Oh,
there's knight takes D3 and then all of a sudden you
oh
actually
my
get
goodness.
forked. So this is the worst time to push A3.
Oh no. So now White's creating some ideas to prevent the A3 pawn push. But now we have a check.
Mhm.
And now E4 is hanging. The knight on D3 could be taken twice.
But knight
Uh
takes F2 defending this is going to come in pretty
uh-huh.
soon. So I think this is I know Yakub's going to win this position. It's just he did it in a very roundabout way, but black is winning in every way possible, so he does
Ooh,
not need to apart
trades
from
nice.
that. No, that's still fine. There's no perpetual. It's okay. Yeah, there's no perpetual. I was much more worried about perpetual, but I think you can just play F5. Oh,
Oh, now A3 and it's a draw. No.
I'm gonna lose it. I'm
It's a
actually gonna
double
lose
question
it.
mark. This is the finally we see your move, but it seems to be a mistake or even worse, a blunder because of the move F5 now.
Mhm. Yeah, indeed. Mizzou not doing too bad today. They've already won their third place match. So now we're just watching some of the games wrap up here, but I'm gonna be very tilted on behalf of Yakub if he does not end up winning this game.
Well,
H5 doesn't quite have the same punch because there is queen to F.
oh,
Oh my
eight.
god!
Oh, wait, now black's winning.
It's fine. It's all fine. It all worked out. It's all good.
You're trying your best to jinx Yakub, saying you know he's gonna win.
I really am. I really am. I mean, he's gonna win. He's gonna win now. Reverse jinxed.
But yeah, the top two boards have finished their games. We had wins from both Oparin and Antipov. So Sean unfortunately got swept today, which is wild, a wild result. But Mizzou's top two boards doing an awesome job. We have the third game actually wrapped up. So we've been so invested in this A pawn. If it doesn't promote at this point, then what have we been watching?
Exactly. You know, it feels like now this is like the sunk cost fallacy. Like I've spent so much time watching this game, watching this pawn, and now if it doesn't promote, I'm just gonna be so sad. Like that's all I wanted from this game is to see this pawn push for promotion. I
Okay,
wanted A3.
King G7, and White has run out of checks. Notice that the king and queen are on the same diagonal for black, which is perfect. And now we see resigns before the A pawn can finally make it to the end zone.
Yeah. But that's okay. We saw it be pushed up. It was a good time. We honestly, it was a tough day. It was a very, very tough day for UTRGV.
Yeah, but a great day for Mizzou, who ends up winning 10.5 to 5.5. Huge shout out to their team for taking down this powerhouse Texas team, keeping the board one. Grandmaster-elect Sean Rodriguez Lemieux to a 0 score, getting swept. Unfortunate for him, but huge shout out to Mizzou's top two boards, getting the job done between Oparin and Antipov, who actually had a perfect day, 4 for 4. So huge shout out to Mikhail, and congrats again to Mizzou for getting third, winning a grand total prize of $1,000.
Pretty crazy performance today coming in. I think Mizzou played absolutely excellently, and we've also seen them play very well in the past. Yesterday, if they had won against SLU, they would have been the ones actually to make it into the finals, which we're going to see right after this, against UT Dallas. But instead, they played against UTRGV for the third place. But I mean, they still played amazing. Huge congratulations to Mizzou. It's been fantastic watching them play this whole season. So, you know, we love our college programs. We really do. Don't forget, the Chess.com College Ambassador Program is back. If you're a college student who wants to help grow chess on your college campus, join the team and get the backing of Chess.com at your school. Benefits include diamond memberships, exclusive Chess.com merch, career opportunities, and even meeting chess celebrities. For all the details, use command CAP in the chat. There are a lot of clubs that are participating. There are. Look at the growth of these programs since 2023. Again, to learn more about your school and chess club and how you can get involved, go to chess.com for additional details. Danny Rensch is going to join us right after the break. We will be right back. So stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. We'll have Danny on in just a moment.
Do you wish playing a chess game with a friend was as easy as sending them a text? Well, good news. Now it is. With Chess.com's new iMessage app, you can start and play a game directly in iMessage. Your friend doesn't even need a Chess.com account. It's just tap and play. Head over to go.chess.com/iMessage or use the command iMessage in chat to learn more. We are live in Oslo, Norway. It's a beautiful day, a beautiful summer. You know the drill, we've done this before. Ma'am, do you mind if I ask you some questions real quick? When I say chess, what's the first word that comes to your mind?
Game, puzzle.
Puzzle, that's brilliant.
Chess, horse.
Smart.
Black and white.
Black and white. That's 2 words, but I'm gonna let it pass. If I say chess, what's the first word that comes to your mind? I don't know if I have any other questions for you. Okay, when I say strategy, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Puzzle.
Puzzle, oh my God. Magnus Carlsen.
Chess.
The answer was puzzle, actually. That was the correct answer. That's okay, though. Okay.
Yeah, I love chess.
You do love chess.
Yeah.
Do you play chess?
Yeah, sometimes.
You play chess online?
Yeah.
Where do you play?
Chess.com.
You play on Chess.com,
Yeah.
of course. Do you know who Magnus Carlsen is?
No.
Okay. Could you name any world chess champion?
We should not.
I knew you were going to say that. Obviously, you know who Magnus Carlsen is,
Sure.
right?
He's a hero.
You know how good he is?
The best?
Yeah, he's the best, right?
Yeah.
Has Norway changed now that Magnus isn't the world champion?
Yeah, it's kind of a bit more sad vibe.
Yeah. Do you know that he's no longer the world chess champion?
I did not know that.
Yeah. So you didn't know why you felt sad, and now you know why.
Yeah, I guess he'll get back up
He'll
there.
get back. Do you know why?
No.
He left chess to become a footballer.
Actually.
Yeah, actually.
I think it's very different, chess and football.
Yeah. But he's an athlete, so he can pull it off.
It makes sense.
It makes sense, right?
I don't know who he is.
You don't know who Magnus Carlsen
No.
is? Okay. He's a professional footballer, one of the most well-known in Norway.
Okay, okay.
Okay, so
Sorry, I'm not from here.
Okay.
I heard there was a huge chess tournament thing where he accused another player of cheating.
That's true. Do you know anything about that scandal? Have we done our job, Oslo? Oslo, they are an educated chess city, a city of deep-thinking people, a city of beautiful people, a city where chess comes to life.
I'd classify trading as a game, really, that you're playing with competitors and basically every market participant in the world. My path, I came in as a poker player, but I think that the main thing that everybody has in common is a sense of competitiveness and interest in gaming and strategy in general. Yes, you can actually use gaming skills for your career and for something to do on a day-to-day basis.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Collegiate Chess League's Championship Weekend presented by SIG. We have a very exciting guest. I am honored to introduce you all to a man who needs no introduction, the Chief Chess Officer at Chess.com, the man that initially hired me and helped create the Collegiate Chess League, Danny Rensch. Danny, welcome. I wanted to ask you if you remember me pitching this idea back in 2019 at the Pro Chess League finals. I wanted to ask you, how much has CCL grown and how excited are you for its future?
Yeah, first of all, how could I forget a super excited Joe Lee in San Francisco at the Pro Chess League finals in 2019? For those who are OG enough to remember that, maybe some people who were there, but we were doing these live chess events before the chess boom and everything that was, and we're excited to get back to it. But yeah, Joe was like, hey, like, you know what this needs to be? This needs to be with colleges, and we ended up talking about it a whole bunch on the way to dinner, and here we are several years later. But I'm not surprised by how it's grown. I mean, Joe, one of the things that we talked about then, and I still believe now, is I think colleges was born for this type of thing, right? For chess, right? The team versus team action. You have built-in rivalries and built-in appreciation for your school winning, whether you even care about chess or not, right? And that's one of the things that, you know, to be totally transparent, we're trying to cultivate with the Pro Chess League in a game that hasn't historically been a team event, and you are you're creating these teams out of thin air, and that takes nothing away from the Mumbai Movers or the Gotham Knights in New York who won last year's PCL, but it's going to probably take years to really have fans who care about their team when professionals are historically playing a very individual sport. Whereas the College Chess League is born for this, and this is I think just the beginning of something that my prediction is going to be looked back as the ultimate team event in chess in several years. And so I'm not surprised at all. I'm super excited, and this year has been a ton of fun to follow.
For sure, Danny. And also, thank you so much, Danny, for always supporting chess. Whether it's, big events where Magnus Carlsen and Hikaru are playing, or if it's in college, I think you have done an excellent job of supporting all of these communities. So I really do want to ask you, what does the future of chess as a whole look like to you? What improvements to the game need to be made without, giving any secrets? And how is Chess.com really looking to fill in those gaps?
It's a very big question. First of all, I appreciate your compliments, but there's a lot of people behind this, and as we sit where we do now in a world where we can all see Gotham Chess on Twitter, right, hosting book signings to hundreds and then thousands of people, and all of you, Nemo and other streamers, have tens of thousands of fans and followers and subscribers, and so so many people have helped bring chess into the spotlight, where you could say the internet was born for chess in some ways, because it was otherwise a solo game without a lot of thoughts being shared, and here comes streaming to sort of blow the roof off what was a game that felt like out of reach to really understand and appreciate what the best in the world thought, let alone the best personalities in the world. Because as we've seen, you don't have to be one of the best players in the world to be one of the most popular creators or let's say personalities to follow. So appreciate that. Everyone has done an amazing job. And as far as the future of the game, that is a really big question. I think it has nothing to do with not wanting to reveal any secrets. I mean, I'm in this with everyone else, that we all want to see the next steps to be taken. I say big things from time to time on Twitter where I predict that we will see chess on TV. We will see chess continue to grow into larger distribution channels, to use the corporate terminology. But if I was to kind of like predict a few things, I think that we see a generation who will appreciate live chess events as a fan, whether that's screaming and cheering in a stadium like you see for other sports, or like we saw at chess boxing in LA, or some combination of respecting the legacy what chess is. It is an intellectual battle, so to some degree you need a little bit of alone time. But at the same time, we believe that chess can be consumed in a different kind of way that doesn't feel like it's just everyone in a ballroom not being excited for what they're watching. And I think there's some different fun ways to do that. We were attempting to do that with the match in Las Vegas that got canceled with Magnus and Hikaru, as many know, and I won't talk more about how we intend to maybe bring more events like that to life. But so I think live experiences in ways that the modern, call it the younger fan, I guess, can appreciate. And then I think a big part of what's next is more top chess players jumping into building their own brands so that they can be known by fans around the world. I think one of the biggest problems, if I'm speaking bluntly to the broader chess audience as in an open letter forum, is that after Magnus, Hikaru, Gotham, I'm talking like, I guess let's talk top players. After Magnus, Hikaru, and maybe Anish, you don't see a lot of top players with large presences on social media and with fan bases where, like, where's the Ali Reza Firouzja fan channel where all it is clips of him, right? Where's the stories about Norbek Abdusattorov, right? I think that in order for us to jump to the next level as an industry, you have to invest in storytelling so that people who are casually interested in the game can get emotionally invested in the sport, in the players, without being grandmasters or let alone even a 1200 player, right? So I think a combination of really understanding what the modern fan needs and helping top players invest in themselves and invest in more people besides the Hikaru and Magnus. And then, as I said, Anish does a good job cultivating an audience on Twitter, whether any of us like it or not. I think we need more. I think we need more top players to kind of help build things. You see Fabi doing that, right, with the C Squared podcast. And I think more top players investing in their brand, investing in content, helping people get to know them is a huge thing that our ecosystem needs. And Chess.com is excited to kind of help take those steps in the coming years.
Danny, that was phenomenal. You definitely hit the nail on the head with that one. And we all see why you're so passionate and doing so many great things to grow chess. And I think the Collegiate Chess League can hopefully get some of these superstar personalities in the chess world that you're mentioning. And I wanted to bring a question from the community. Actually, a student from your home state, Arizona State. He is in the CCL. He's a team captain and one of our ambassadors. He's asking if Chess.com has any internships for college ambassadors, and if so, what kind of skills, certifications, and other requirements are currently in high demand that you recommend?
Yeah, do I know this person? So from Arizona State, my home state, maybe not. Maybe I'm old now, so and I've been out of Arizona for a couple of years. So if I don't know this person, shout out. So yes, we do have internships available at chess.com/jobs. There are jobs and there are internships available, and they are across everything that you do when running an online company, right? Whether it's people looking for engineering internships or opportunities in like strategy or business development, or hey, like I'll just jump into anything and learn how you guys cultivate community and social media. And so my own son has been an intern at our company, and although he needed to do a better job in some of the social media stuff, shout out to Nash. Anyway, no, we have all kinds of internship programs for people that are interested in it, and I also know that we do a pretty good job kind of creating motivation and incentives. As far as the areas of most need, that's hard for me to say because I can't speak for every program. I know that it kind of comes and goes, but I will say that this is the respectful way to say, like, to the intern and also to the need of a company. In some ways, I would argue that the internship is sort of based on the intern, because from our perspective, if we really need something done and completed, we are hiring for that role, right? And so when we get an intern application, my advice for any intern is to be authentic and to be passionate, and then to just represent yourself in the best way. Because a lot of our gamble on an intern is based on whether we look at that person and see them as a motivated contributor, because there are all kinds of things running all the time, right? So by definition, if we're hiring an intern, it's because we see the potential for that intern to maybe even become more, or we see their passion and feel like we can play an important role in helping that person grow, right? So it's really about the intern themselves more than it is the job. So if you're interested, whatever skills you have, you should apply, and then we go from there.
I love that answer because you're really inspiring people to come and apply at chess.com, and that's been one of our key, things about hosting the Collegiate Chess League. with SIG as well as the Collegiate Ambassador Program. So thank you very much, Danny, for giving us that. And I did have to ask you as well, what was your thought process when you chose your own career? Obviously, we now know you as the Chief Chess Officer, also known as the guy in the green pawn suit half the time. But a lot of the time we associate you very much with chess, being one of the faces of Chess.com. How did you end up here? How did you decide to take a step back from, I don't know, classical to focus on Chess.com?
Accidental. It's accidental, right? I can't answer that question without the full imposter syndrome taking over. With all humility, I did not enter into the space of chess with the thought that I would ever even use the term the space of chess, right? I mean, look what's happened here, right? This is an industry that at some point just simply didn't exist. So with all humility, I would say that it's hard to really reflect on how you go from just creating content, which was a natural transition for anyone who was doing the professional chess gambit at the time, teaching in schools, private lessons and running tournaments on the weekends. And then here comes this thing, the internet, right? And then naturally taking every opportunity that came along the way, here we sit, right? So I don't know that I necessarily foresaw this coming, but if I was to give myself advice in the past, I would tell myself to be maybe a little more patient. That slow is smooth and smooth is fast at times. I think I've been a little bit of a crazy person along the train of this wild growth story that is chess. I don't know how to answer it professionally, other than one of the most important things is to be willing to wear many hats and to understand that you don't know what you don't know, and that at times the job you have to do will have to change. And I think sometimes people get stubborn or convinced that their right way to contribute or their right path in a career is XYZ. And I accidentally ended up in whatever my co-CEO, chief chess officer, green pawn blundering position is, by not necessarily trying to say that that's what I was going for, right? You do the next thing in front of you, and you evolve with the times and wear whatever hat is needed. And if you're doing that with some passion and some purpose behind your job, maybe you end up doing it. That's all I can say.
Well,
I don't even know if I answered the question you gave. Where are we right now? So
You absolutely did.
Okay.
Well,
there you go. That would be the advice I could give then.
Regardless of how you got here, Danny, the path that you took, I think that we're all very fortunate and grateful to have you where you are, and wanted to thank you for doing all that you do at Chess.com. And I wanted to end with asking, obviously we have the CCL finals coming up after this. Who do you think is the favorite? Do you want to give us a prediction, maybe even a match score between Dallas and SLU?
It's funny because you have, UT Dallas. I feel like they're an OG of college chess before there was a college chess league, right? They've been around and forever. Although now, given how the other school from Missouri did today, right? Maybe there's something going on there. So it's hard to pick against SLU from the perspective of what Mizzou just did. So I will say this. I don't think it's going to be as lopsided of a score, right? Mizzou really performed well today. I think this is going to be a close match, but I'm going to lean SLU. I think I'm going to go with Missouri being the state that takes all the glory in the fall season of the College Chess League this year. That'll be my prediction.
Wait. Did I just hear Missouri?
Mizzou.
Mizzou unfortunately just ended in third.
No, he's saying Missouri is going to be better than Texas. So like,
I'm saying,
yeah,
that's what I'm saying. I'm going with SLU. That's what I'm saying.
Got it. Okay, understood. Yes, I think SLU are actually some of the team top favorites. We are all familiar with SLU as well as St. Louis, and the St. Louis being the PCL. What do you think of that? How do you feel about the whole St. Louis University and St. Louis chess area? Because I think that's like one of the most amazing things about chess too. Like US chess has really started to grow, and more people are also keeping their eyes now in St. Louis.
St. Louis has become the capital of the chess world in the U.S., right? At least, and what you saw initially with the St. Louis Chess Club now expanding into multiple college programs in the greater SLU area, right? The greater St. Louis area. I mean, what can you say besides it's been awesome to see. I think it's great for chess. And I think it's going to continue. So, I mean, I think that what I love about college chess is, as well, is that, and speaking to the St. Louis general area and kind of your question, Nemo, I think that in a path that people have to pro in any industry, there's what we all start out as kids, which is being like the best in the world. When you start out as like a little leaguer or like learning basketball, like you're not thinking, I might generally be good enough to get a college, whatever it is, like scholarship, and maybe get myself an education and then go into a business career, right? At SIG. You're not thinking that. You're thinking, I'm going to be LeBron James, right? So we all start out with this path to pro where we worship our heroes. But the truth is, for the mass majority of people, no one's ever going to become Hikaru Nakamura or Magnus Carlsen, let alone a top pro. But getting good enough to earn yourself a college scholarship and to have a really successful career where chess was a major part of helping you become the critical thinker or the corporate leader you want to come or become, whatever that is, it's a very realistic path, I think, for a lot of people. And it's pretty exciting to know that college chess, as it booms, could potentially be more impactful for the greater growth of the game than maybe almost anything we're doing, right? And I think that as a parent, when you have a kid, sometimes you pull them away from something when the reality check sets in as a dad. My kid isn't going to be, Bryce Harper in the MLB, right? Not to say but I'm just speaking directly to the truth that people are always looking at their future. And the reason we push through hard times is because of a belief that we can achieve our goals. And so if your goal is an unbiasedly unrealistic one, having another goal is actually super meaningful for people to push through hard times, to invest in themselves, to get better at chess. So I would argue the college programs, the St. Louis, the greater ones in the state of Missouri, and just Texas led the way many years ago. They were doing college chess scholarships before it was cool to do it. So shout out to every one of the college chess programs in Texas. And so, I get really excited about that. And I think that college chess is a big part of the future because it invests in the generation below them, maybe even more than professional chess does.
Thank you so much, Danny. I mean, hearing you talk honestly makes me want you to have a podcast or you to have a TED talk or something like that. You're just so inspiring, and you have provided us with excellent points about why collegiate chess is so important. So thank you very much for joining us today. It's been an absolute pleasure. I could listen to you talk forever about chess. You're so knowledgeable and you know the ins and outs of the industry as well. But we do have a next guest, so we will say bye to you, and we hope you have an awesome day. Take care, Danny. And we're going to be going to the CCL finals very, very, very soon. We are going to be seeing UT Dallas play against SLU.
Yeah, this is a very exciting match, but we also have another guest actually from SIG. So I'm really looking forward to that. It's going to be tough to follow Danny, of course, but the SIG guests have been absolutely phenomenal every single match, every single broadcast. And this is the last show of the season and the last guest of the season. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Absolutely. We are going to have our guest join us momentarily. But don't forget, we are going to have finals. Hello and welcome, Theo Schrader.
Hey.
Thank you so much for joining us. First of all, can you tell us what you do at SIG and what's your personal connection to chess?
Yeah, sure. So I'm a test automation engineer at SIG. So I write, monitor, and deploy integration tests to make sure that developers can make changes to our code base with confidence without having to check every single code path when they're making more complex changes. And recently I've been moving towards more of a development role in this effort to move to more of a microservices architecture, sort of splitting up one big server into multiple little servers that all talk to each other.
That's awesome.
Wow, that's very technical.
Yeah. Sorry.
Oh,
no, I love that.
Theo,
for my
that's really
personal
cool.
connection to chess, I've been playing chess since I was a kid. I started playing at a pretty young age, and I think one of my proudest achievements is that I was the 5-time Blue Ribbon Iowa State Fair chess winner My parents would always take me out there to visit my grandparents who lived there, and I'd always just clean up the farm boys around there. But I kind of stopped playing chess for a while during high school, then got back into it during COVID with the whole Queen's Gambit thing. Everyone was getting back into it back then. And I was playing with a startup at the time for the NACCL, the North American Corporate Chess League. And the winner of the first chess league was SIG. So that was actually the first time I'd ever heard of SIG. And that is what sort of got me interested and eventually encouraged me to apply.
That's awesome. That's so funny. Obviously, we've had a lot of your coworkers as guests on the show that are also your teammates in the NACCL. And so I wanted to ask, did SIG recruit you to work for them or to play on their chess team? And how does it feel to be playing chess for your company?
Yeah, I definitely not for my chess playing abilities. I think my peak was like 2000 on Lee Chess, but we have some really impressive players. I mean, we have last summer Andrew Tang, Penguin GM1 was working as an intern here, so definitely they have a wide talent pool to choose from. But yeah, it's very cool to play alongside such skilled players at SIG. It's really fun experience. I used to be like the best player at my old company for the NACCL, and now I'm like among the worst at SIG. So that's a little disheartening, but it is cool to have such powerful teammates and to be on the winning side for once.
Well, I mean, it sounds like you're having fun, and I think that's more important than anything else, honestly, when it comes to chess. So, for all the chess players and college students watching, actually, what advice do you have for those who want to pursue a career in the tech space?
Yeah, sure. I think for one thing, it's great to just try out tons of different jobs and see what's out there, see what's available. I think a lot of people, especially in college, they get so hyper focused on like the big tech FANG stuff that they forget there's the tech space is so big right now. There's so much investment. There's so many different things, and there's all these like waves going on. Like obviously the AI wave, the blockchain, like stuff like that. You really never know what you're going to be interested in and what is going to like click with you. Like I think I started out it's doing sort of a very opposite type company of what I am right now. I started out on like a very consumer focused small startup, and now I'm at like more of a finance focused large established company. So I think you really just have to try out lots of stuff and don't get too caught up in like the FANG game of competing with your classmates. Even though it is cool to get a new grad offer with a huge salary or something, really you have to, I think, like in chess as well, think about the longer game and not just focus on like the small tactical wins, but maybe also have the larger strategical game in mind, and just try and make choices thinking not just like 2 years down the road, maybe like 5-10 years down the road. Trying out, seeing what you might like, but also like thinking about what industry you want to be in eventually later on.
Thank you so much. I think that's really good advice. That's fantastic. I mean, thinking long term sounds so important. So we really appreciate having you, Theo, and good luck at both SIG and your future chess career. It's been
Thanks so much,
fantastic.
guys.
Thank you. Thank you. And for everybody that is around, we are going into the finals immediately now. We've had two amazing guests, and now we're going to see two amazing teams, two amazing schools play as well. The CCL final is here with University of Texas at Dallas challenging University of St. Louis. Two teams that we are quite familiar with, two very famous scholarship chess schools. And Joe, how's your feeling going to this? This is the championship match. We've waited 8 weeks.
This is the moment we've all been waiting for, Nevo. This is the grand finale, the last match of the entire season. It all comes down to this. One final match between SLU and Dallas for the championship, for $5,000 on the line, school pride, you name it. This is it. Coming up right next. I cannot wait to see this match, Nemo.
Me too. And with the CCL finals beginning momentarily, here are the round one board assignments. Here are the board assignments. I mean, we see some grandmasters, we see some international masters. Okay, sorry, we only see one international master coming in for UT Dallas, Andrei Makovey, the singular international master here. And with these lineups, I mean, Joe, who stands out to you?
Well, one key thing to note, SLU is sticking to their tried and true form of yesterday's lineup. They're not changing a single player. So they're all warmed up from yesterday. They're ready to rock and roll. UT Dallas, they've made 2 subs. They brought in Ivan as well as Andre. So I'm very excited to see how they do. I know yesterday we saw Kustov kind of struggling for the Dallas team, but unfortunately for them, it didn't cost them the match. They still got the win. But I think these subs are going to be very important, especially with Ivan. And not to mention the one international master, Andre, he's actually their team captain. So maybe he can help rally their troops, kind of like how Bok did yesterday, despite not playing in week 7. So the team captain obviously really big for morale and team chemistry. But I think that Dallas is definitely putting up the best lineup that they have available, and they're going to give SLU their all to try to win their first ever championship.
Absolutely. And I think Danny did mention that he favors SLU when it comes to this matchup. But I do think that UT Dallas has a very, very strong team, and it's going to be close. What do you think the final score might look like?
It's definitely going to be a close one. I think Dallas is going to give them a better time, a harder fight, perhaps, than Mizzou. So just a reminder, SLU beat Mizzou yesterday 10-6. I think it's going to be 9.5 to 6.5 in favor of SLU.
9.5 to 6.5 in favor of SLU is a score that I would actually bet on. So I guess I have to go for something slightly different. I'll do 9-7, a little closer. Although I do think SLU is extremely strong. So once again, like, anything can still happen. Obviously, even though both casters think SLU is the favorite, and Danny also prefers SLU a little bit. UT Dallas, not a team to scoff at. Very strong. 3 grandmasters, 1 international master, with their international master actually being one of the higher rated players on their team, as well as team captain. So it would be really crazy.
Yeah, and obviously I think Ivan and Andre were playing in the European Team Championship yesterday, and that's also partially why we didn't see them playing. And the teammates that filled in for them actually took a half-point bye in their tournament down in Houston. So Dallas team is competing all over the world and online here today in the final. And right now, this is the only match that matters. These teams are fighting for a lot. Obviously, SLU's the defending champ, and they're looking to be the first team to win back-to-back seasons. That's never been done before. So no matter what happens today, history is being made right before our very own eyes. We have round 1 underway. Nemo, tell me a bit about this matchup that we're looking at right now.
Right now, we're seeing Batsurin face off against Ivan. I mean, this is a very fascinating position because as we were talking, Batsurin has actually managed to maneuver his rook all the way from A1 to E4. This is not rook of the hill. This is not king of the hill. This rook is just hanging out on E4. And I don't know if this is theory. I really have no idea what this opening is, but he is picking up the C4 pawn, which he had left there earlier in the opening. So this is a very interesting position, at least for the time being.
Yeah, that rook just took quite the journey on the board. A3, E3, E4 to C4, snaking its way through to pick up this pawn. And Ivan's just developing his bishop opposite the rook, maybe lining up a discovery. But Batsurin seems to be pretty comfortable. I doubt this is theory, but perhaps Batsurin has looked into this. I wouldn't put it past him.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it probably is theory just because you don't usually move your rook, 4 times in the opening without doing some prep on it. But also, you know, the rook on c4 is now on a half open file, so it's actually ended up in a pretty good spot. And there are no crazy discovered attacks here coming in from black, as long as white doesn't make any mistakes. So for the time being, the rook is just kind of sitting on c4 and doesn't have to worry that much.
Yeah, that is pretty wild that this rook is chilling out there. Although it's gonna have to move another time as the knight goes to the edge to attack it with tempo. Probably just rook c2, I feel. Although maybe you run into some trouble with knight to b4. Where do you think the rook should go?
Good question. I mean, it doesn't have a lot of places. I was going to say c2 looks the most natural, but c2 is also the most passive, and now you're potentially signing up for some pins on b3. But rook e4 and rook h4, the more active options, I would say, are also very scary, because then, yes, your rook is just completely out in the middle of the board, and I have no idea what you would do after that. So rook c2, safe, not that ambitious. The rook's going to live.
Oh, do we already have a result on board 4?
Whoa, we gotta go to bird's eye view very quickly, because Nicolas Theodorou has won his game, and we haven't even made it out of the rook being moved on board 1.
Oh my god, dude, wait, didn't Theodorou also have, like, as Danya said it, a 2-mover in the European Team Championship against, like, Radjabov?
Yeah, I mean, it was 19 moves, and he checkmated Rajabov essentially
Dude.
in 19 moves. But I do think we have to go to this game very quickly, just to give you guys a quick idea of what happened. Balaji looking very, very upset about his loss right now. I mean, Nicolas, obviously one of the strongest players in the Collegiate Chess League, also representing his country, Greece, currently in the European Team Championship. Got a win, a very beautiful win against Rajabov the other day in 19 moves. And let's see how he actually managed to win this one. So far, it's just looking like a very slow position. And I have to admit, I really like Black's setup. I'm not sure why White has White is playing b4. That's a mystery to me too. That looks like a free pawn. And that looks like
Wow.
a rook. I am
Oh my
so
goodness.
confused right now. I am so confused. What just happened? Balaji is
Theodorou,
2,700, a grandmaster,
I
and
mean,
he
it's
has
the
played
Theodorou effect.
b4. It's
He
true. I
wins in
mean,
classical in less than 20 moves. He's done it again here in the Collegiate Chess League. Only 16 moves this game lasted.
that is crazy. I mean, it looks really like Balaji blundered 3 moves in a row, proceeded to lose the exchange, and then lost the pawn on e4 as well. So lost b4, lost the exchange, and then lost e4, all
Yeah, and you can
in
see
4 moves.
Balaji's face is down. He's disappointed in himself. Not the start that they wanted. And SLU is doubling down with yet another result with Benjamin Bok. So the top 2 boards going to town real strong in this first match or round against Dallas. So holy smokes, folks. These games are knockouts right now from SLU.
We also have to look at this one. I mean, I haven't even had a chance to like browse. We haven't even had a chance to go to bird's eye before the games have ended. So we're gonna take a quick look. As you guys can tell, Benjamin Bok and Andre Makovey have the same room type. They're both currently playing the European Team Championships and probably staying at the same hotel.
Are they
But
roommates? They could be in the same room.
they could also be roommates. Unlikely. One is playing for the Netherlands and the other is playing for Moldova. So unlikely to be roommates. Obviously, always possible, but that would have been pretty funny. Makovey here plays bishop to b3, a little risky. Obviously, your king is signing up to be checkmated. So let's see what happens. Bishop c4, blocking the c4 pawn push.
Oh, he just drops a piece. Resign. This one also less than 20 moves. The top 2 boards for SLU getting wins and getting wins fast. 2-0 lead for SLU.
That is crazy. Wow. I mean, do you think this is UT Dallas crumbling a little bit under the pressure? I mean, what's happening? How is this happening? Like, I understand blunders, I understand mistakes. I'm not expecting anybody here to play perfect chess, but we are currently seeing far from perfect. we're seeing, dare I say it, we're seeing some very elementary blunders. We're
No,
seeing
I totally
mistakes that I
agree.
would watch my sub battles in. Like
Oh man, that's low. No, I'm just kidding.
that's too far.
No, but seriously, this is the last match of the season. This is the finals. This is the championship. You have to be ready. You can't be making these mistakes so early on. So has not warmed up yet. They haven't come to play. This is going to be a vital moment for them to come back if they can. SLU might not even turn back from this. This could be already over with 2 games in. I mean, come on,
2
Dallas.
games in. Yeah, we're like 5 minutes, 2 games in. 2 games have ended under 20 moves. Like these are some of the best players. They're not only representing their university, they're also representing their countries quite literally at this very current moment. So I just don't understand like really what's happening here. This is, it doesn't quite feel like I'm watching Division 1 of the Collegiate Chess League. I'm watching my sub battle from 2 years ago where we managed to lose every single game.
Well, I mean, maybe if your sub team is losing, you could recruit some of these players. I know Bok is, I hope, subbed to your channel. That'd be a pretty good recruitment.
That's
But
true.
the Dallas team, on the other hand, maybe they could sub to your channel and get some pointers from your viewers. So I'm really hoping, this is only round 1. The match is far from over, but Dallas needs to wake up and answer back fast. They still have their top 2 boards playing, but they've got their work cut out against them between 2 grandmasters from SLU. Right now, we're watching Robbie Kavlashvili, of course, and he looks to be in a bit of a time scramble. It's under a minute for both sides, but he's going to be picking up one of these pawns, if not both pawns here. And White's going to have perhaps a passed A pawn.
Yeah, I mean, I think Black is going to have to give up one of these pawns, and I think the correct choice here would be to give up the E pawn rather than the A pawn, so at least your opponent doesn't get that outside pass pawn. But both players are spending a lot of time in this endgame. Although the eval bar says this is dead equal, it's kind of complicated. I'm not really sure. I would personally not give up the A pawn, but even then, White will get the E pawn. So this is sort of a bit of a compromise. Rook c5, rook takes c5. There's knight takes, and then you can take on b3.
Yeah.
So instead, White might decide to take rook takes e5 instead. Rook takes, knight takes, and then Black is going to be 1 move slower to take on b3. But White
F2
will.
No.
Yeah, but I don't think you can. I don't think you have time for f2 because a5 is just so much more important.
Yeah, so we see the knight takes on b3 and simultaneously defends on a5, but now White's king is just going to get into the attack a move faster than Black's.
Thankfully, there is this invention called the opposition, founded by Dvoretsky in the early 1900s. So Black is probably going to be okay here. Also picking up this pawn on a4 because Robbie walked into the fork, but he is going to get this pawn on a5. And with the pieces trading off, with the pawns trading off, it's actually not that clear because now this knight check is forcing Black to get out of opposition, and there's a chance the king goes to c5. Robbie doesn't take it.
Robbie's not rushed for it. The king's definitely going to be picking up this b pawn, and Robbie's going to have all the chances to win. And in a time scramble, even 1 pawn difference means the entire game could be on the line. I'm definitely thinking Robbie's going to convert this now.
Well, Robbie finds knight to d4. This king endgame is 100% winning for Robbie. There's just nothing that David Brodsky is going to do, and that would put us at 3-0.
Can we take a look at the 4th game still happening?
I don't see a 4th game. Oh, there we go. Okay, we have bird's eye view coming up. I mean, this is going to be absolutely wild if UT Dallas loses all their games round 1.
SLU couldn't ask for a better start. They're definitely in championship form. They're ready. What's going on in this 4th game?
Batsurin's going to be pushing this position for a win with the pair of bishops, I suppose, but I think it's most likely just a draw. I think there's no way that White can really push for advantage. If you play king here, this is actually probably not the best idea. Oh my god.
Uh-oh.
It's
Are we gonna see a mate with bishop f7? Oh, was bishop f7 needed first?
yeah, bishop f7 was needed first because then when the king moved, there was bishop takes f6 with a check, picking up the rook on h8.
Oh my
However,
god.
this is still so winning for white.
Oh my goodness. We're gonna see a 4-0 sweep, Nemo.
Yeah, we are going to see a 4-0 sweep in round 1.
This might be the most oh, and there's a skewer. Wow.
Oh. Oh, man.
With check. Oh, it doesn't wait. He doesn't take it.
Why did he not take it? Oh, probably
He just
because he knows that it's a draw. Well, it's probably a draw. It's a draw if he takes it, because then he would have opposite color bishops. It wouldn't be the right bishop. So this might
No,
actually
but
be a
he
draw
would have
now.
had 2 passed pawns.
That's true. That's probably winning.
He still had the c pawn.
That's true.
Now it's
That is
a
true.
draw. Wow.
Now it's a draw. Yeah. Okay.
Oh man, Batsurin really letting off Dallas off the hook, I guess. But 3.5 to a half, I think SLU's happy regardless. They're gonna take that to the bank, and they're only 4 wins away. No, 5 wins away, with 12 games remaining. So wow, this is quite the start from SLU. I think Dallas is a little shell shocked right now. Do they have any chance of coming back already after only 1 round, Nemo?
I'm not going to put any money on Dallas coming back. Batsurin there, you saw shaking his head. He knows he has more in the tank. He knows that he can push for a win. That was definitely unexpected for round 1. I have to say, Balaji looked like he just walked into 4 blunders in a row, and Andre just blundered a bishop over there. So some rough games for sure coming in for UT Dallas. But that's pretty crazy. I don't think we've ever seen a 3.5 to 0.5 start.
I mean, SLU's out here making Dallas look like they're not even a scholarship team. We've seen some blowouts against Virginia, against Columbia, but obviously Dallas has a ton of talent. They've made their way to the final for a reason. We saw them take down UTRGV, but the SLU team is just on a different caliber right now.
Yeah, definitely. SLU looking so good. And when SLU looks good, you get worried because we saw how they played yesterday and they were in top form. And today it feels like they're in even better form. And I didn't know that it was possible for them to be in a better form considering how crushing they looked. So I would be very scared right now if I was UT Dallas. However, obviously, as Joe was mentioning, UT Dallas, still a scholarship school, still very good. They know how to play in situations like this. They just have to perform.
Yeah, and there's only 3 rounds left to perform. So we're seeing the start of round 2 here. And I mean, this is the season on the line. This is the end of the road for this season for both these teams. I want to mention Mizzou had this 10-6 game yesterday, and that was actually the rematch of last year's finals, Mizzou versus SLU. So if SLU beats Dallas by a larger score than that, then it makes me feel that Mizzou is perhaps the better team than Dallas, but we won't see that match, unfortunately. But I also want to point out that like Mizzou beat SLU 12.5 to 3.5, like an absolute demolition in week 7. So these teams can trade wins here and there. Like we saw Dallas actually had triple overtime against SLU in the regular season, but none of that matters at this point. This is a whole different season almost. This is playoffs. This is what it all comes down to. The matches before in regular season only mattered for standings, but now that they're here in the finals, only this match and result matters, and Dallas is just not here to play yet.
Yeah, I mean, I think honestly, SLU probably heard Benjamin's interview and were like, "Oh, Benjamin is calling us out." If you were around a couple of weeks ago, Benjamin had a very funny interview where we asked him, like, "Hey, how do you feel about commentating and watching your team lose 3-13?" And he was like, "Well, they played terrible. I think they should have played better and they should have scored more points." So, SLU got called out. Benjamin made sure they all knew that they were playing terrible, and now ever since then, I've only seen bangers from that team. I
Bangers
swear.
only.
Yeah, bangers only. I've only seen good games. Even the games themselves feel like they're well prepared. They're going to these end games. They're pushing for the win, even if it's not necessarily winning. They're very tricky. I don't know what it is. I don't know what they did the last 2 weeks, but they're in the best form I have ever seen.
They've been eating their Wheaties.
They have been eating their
Said in the
Wheaties.
chat.
Yeah.
But obviously, like they're competing, they're getting a lot of prep in, and sometimes like when you're on, right? Like sometimes when you're playing against a player or a team, it seems that everything just works in their favor, right? Like all the
Yeah.
tactics, but it all comes down to that drive and that motivation. You said like they're pushing to win because they're expected to win, and it's partially because of this motivation from their captain, like you mentioned. Bok even mentioned it yesterday in his interview. He said that he's definitely motivating them, inspiring them, and leading the way. We saw him get a quick win in round 1, and now we're seeing the SLU team basically get to work here. This is nothing new to them. They're used to championships. They're used to winning. They're expected to win, and they are definitely performing and delivering. So it's a beautiful sight to see. You said even the games themselves feel special and they got that pizzazz to them. And I'm really excited to see how they close this one out. They've got the lead, right? A significant lead. They're still looking to win games, right? They're not trying to hold this on through. They're looking to completely crush like how they did, but in every single round. Dallas is going to have to answer back and answer back quickly if they're to stand a chance at a comeback. So, do they have any chances here in round 2?
There's definitely a chance. I mean, once again, we're going to this very, very slow end game between Ivan and Robbie. So maybe we take a quick look at Bird's Eye. But we actually, there's always a chance between these Grandmaster games. And also the time control being 5+2 means that there's more potential for people to make significant mistakes. Like there's always a chance. So honestly, I think I'm not confident. You can tell that I don't sound confident when I'm saying this. 3.5 to 0.5 is just such a big score difference coming into round 2, and also we're currently seeing Benjamin Bok's eval bar basically take up the whole screen. So we should actually jump over there really quick. But theoretically, yeah.
In theory, but perhaps not in practice. But yeah, I mean, I do want to mention it could have very easily been 4-0 sweep for SLU, and Ivan was able to hold that draw against Batsurin. And even though that still feels like a dominating score, you got to count your wins somewhere, and that for them was a mini win, right? Like maybe you can change the results of one of the boards. And if you keep doing that here and there, like before you know it, in round 4, you could just be right back in it. But obviously, Bok is not putting his foot off the pedal. He is picking up a knight here with that queen fork on g4. So Balaji, a grandmaster, blundering a piece like a sub battle, like you mentioned. This is definitely Bok looking to lead the way, lead his team to victory and to another championship again. So, yeah, Bok is just performing right now, and SLU is definitely going to drive home even more wins in this second round.
Bok played an excellent move here with King H1, actually. This is like having a little hat on top of your head. It's protecting you against any potential checks. No reason at all to take this pawn, and just keeping the king on H1 instead means that Black has no attack whatsoever, and Bok is just comfortably up a piece. Definitely, the last 2 games that we have seen Balaji play, not been great. I don't know what happened. We have seen him play great, but today does not feel like his day, and Bok is here in full force. I mean, he is very warmed up as well from playing European teams, so no surprise that he is also playing well here in the Collegiate Chess League. But it's a tough day today for UT Dallas. I mean, they have a very big uphill battle to fight. They are going to need to figure out an answer to, for example, Bok's rook takes c7. Like, what do
Yeah.
you even do after rook takes c7? Like, everything starts falling. Yeah, your king is just so exposed. Bok doesn't even need to, like, well, almost everything in this position is winning, basically. He decides to not go for the really fancy rook takes c7. Instead, withdraws the queen over to h3, adding another layer of protection to his king side. He knows he is up a piece, so if he swaps off enough pieces, goes into the endgame, he's going to win comfortably. And maybe today is actually a really good day for Benjamin to not show off those amazing tactic skills he has, and instead just play it slow, play for the win. Although I think bishop takes e4 is just too tempting here. Bishop takes e4 looks like you might be getting checkmated along this diagonal, but white's going to do the checkmating thing first. This is actually a very fun line.
D5. Nice.
Yeah, before it's like the fianchetto over here looks good, but you use the Uno reverse card, and all of a sudden it's actually black who's getting checkmated. But Bok is not taking any risks apparently, and he is playing the most solid chess I have seen him play all season.
Yeah, he gives up an exchange, but I don't know if the material matters when you're up already. He was up a piece, so he has 2 knights versus a rook. So I don't know. It's pretty interesting. There's a queen trade being offered right now. Balaji definitely feeling the heat on his king. So trading queens will help increase his king's safety. And actually, maybe it's going to be white's king that's a little exposed. And I do want to mention Bok is down on the clock. He's got less than 2 minutes, and Balaji, even though is worse off, has extra time. So maybe with the queens off the board, that time advantage can be converted into some Bok mistakes, but those have definitely been few and far between. It's going to be interesting to see how Bok converts this.
For sure. In the meantime, we'll take a quick look at bird's eye view. There's definitely a chance that Benjamin can make some mistakes in this endgame. 2 knights versus 2 bishops, not the easiest, but he can also trust his teammate, Nicolas Theodorou, to win his game. So even if Benjamin doesn't win, he's under no pressure to force that game for a win, right? As we saw, he's been playing very solid. Like I was saying, I think if it was a different match, Benjamin would have probably played that bishop takes e4. I'm sure he saw it. I'm sure he saw rook takes c7. He probably just doesn't want to risk a single thing. And I really can't blame him for that. When you're leading 3 points in the most important match of your season, you don't really need to take those risks. So here we're actually seeing Nicolas in a completely crushing position against Andre Makove. Unfortunately, Andre's king is hanging out on h6.
Yeah, that king got evicted, not paying its rents on the G8 square, apparently. So we see the king has left his home and is fighting out in the wilderness of the board. Definitely a very checkable king. Definitely not the safest place to be. Does Theodoro have any knockouts? Here I see his knight is temporarily being hit right now.
Yeah, I really like rook e3. Speaking of knockouts, there isn't anything that's like a forceful checkmate, but whenever your king is on h6, obviously all the alarm bells are going off in your head, right? It's a homeless king. I love that line. I'm gonna start using it right now. Instead, like usually when the pawns are like this, it's already a barn, but the king doesn't even have a barn. It's just evicted. He's homeless, and this is a hard position for black to play. So I think bishop takes c6 is best. I think your knight's just so good on e5. You want to keep it there. And then I think you want to go g4 just to threaten rook to h3. If that ever happens, then all of a sudden king has to go back and you have all the discovery attacks in the world. So
yeah, trading off
very
the
tough.
fianchettoed bishop, you see that now we have a knight versus bishop. Knight's on a dark square. White's putting pawns on dark squares, trying to block in the c pawn on c6. Otherwise, perhaps black can push the c pawn and get their active bishop on the long diagonal. Theodore is just playing this very positionally. We see this g4 pawn push that you mentioned. Now maybe the rook can swing over to the h file. But maybe the king is getting some safety.
Yeah, I think rook h3 actually now helps the king because the queen's now sitting on f6. But I think g takes f5, very good move by Nicolas, obviously. He is not in any rush. So now rook h3 is 10 times more powerful because after king g7, I mean, where does this queen go, actually? The queen is just stuck on f5. Here, I'll show the line really quick with rook to h3, king to g7 and then rook to h3. There's actually a stuck queen on f5. And I think he sees it.
Maybe there's like rook e5? No, and then you're pinned. Never mind.
Yeah, unfortunately. That's the big thing, right? Like when your king is just so weak and so exposed. The problem with this is that it's black's best try, but unfortunately there's rook e3 right after, and then you're going to swap off this rook as well.
Yeah, so it's rook and bishop versus queen, but the queen is just going to mop up the pawns, and these pieces aren't going to be great for black. So really nice conversion here from Theodorio. He's also up a minute to 18 seconds. Lots of extra pawns as well for white.
Yeah. I mean, some pretty good stuff coming in here by the SLU team. Very strong. Ivan has actually drawn against Robbie. So let's take a quick look at bird's eye view as we trust Nicolas to convert this position. Unfortunately, it looks like Benjamin Bok has lost most of his advantage, as we were as we were talking about.
Yeah, the time pressure may be getting to him.
Yeah, time pressure may be getting to him. We'll actually tune in really quick just to see what's going on, because it looks like I take it all back. I take it all back. He's doing just fine. So the reason this is just fine is because you can't take on g5 after. But if you play bishop takes g3 first, king takes g3, pawn takes, there is still the hanging bishop on f5.
Wow. So just like that, Bok heard us tune into the game and said, oh, hold on, let me flip the switch again and get back into this winning position. His knight's coming in, taking all of black's pieces. Things are working out back in Bok's favor, and now they're both mutually in time pressure.
I genuinely feel bad for Balaji. He fought so hard to put it all back. I also forgot Bok still had this bishop on b2.
Oh my god.
So now white's not only up one piece, he is up two pieces.
Yeah, and he's up on time. So everything's coming together here. This was definitely not the blowout we were expecting. This is just a dominant SLU team. And at this point, I'm looking forward to seeing them compete again next season and seeing that's just a fork. Look at that. Oh my god, dude. Every move was a knockout.
It's rough. It's rough out here. Okay, well, you know, we do have scores coming in. Not in favor of UT Dallas. I think their chances of making a comeback are getting smaller and smaller by the second. I mean, Chad, did you guys expect this to happen in the finals? UT Dallas at only 1.5 points.
Oh my goodness! After 2 rounds, they've only had draws. No one from Dallas has won a game yet.
No one from Dallas has won a game yet. SLU at 6.5. I mean, 2 perfect scores, 1.5 coming in from Robbie, and 2 draws coming in for Dan Basurin. So, wow, really tough for Dallas.
Yeah, well, the only good news right now for Dallas is that their beating is going to be put on pause here as we take a break between round 2 and 3. They're going to be in the locker room in halftime. They need a motivational speech right now to get them back, but I don't even know if that could save them from the wrath that is the St. Louis University chess team.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I have to say I didn't expect it, but when we come back, maybe they will have done a little team prep. Maybe somebody will be yelling. Team captain is like, hey guys, we all got to step it up, including myself. So who knows? Anything can happen, but we will be going on a quick break. And when we come back, get ready for the last 2 rounds of the final.
This right here is how I use Chessable and why. I've been using it for a long time. I mean, if you look up here, I actually have my streak. It says 1,231 days, right? You're gonna forget a lot of the things that are in the book. Chessable came around. When I got on Chessable, it's literally, I was already doing that. So this is now a game changer because I can do it faster. It's online, it's in front of me. All of my books are here. There's gonna be folders now so I can categorize by white, black, and tactics in game. But I literally have everything in one area. As you see, I'm scrolling here. This is why I like this. So they're like, how many Chessable books you got? I'm like, all of them. How I use Chessable is actually, I do a lot for the opening training. I do tactics on here. I do calculation. I do in-game. I do everything but the database. All my training on here all the time. Chessable is the wave. This is why I like to use Chessable. It's actually helped me. I remember even online, I was only like capping out at 2350, almost 2400 in Blitz and Bullet. My chess comm is 26 with a high of 2774 in Bullet. And I blame all of this, like success, really, it's just working on Chessable. Just being honest with you.
With ChessKid's new live classroom feature, coaches can do so much more. Easily create or preload games from your library and invite your class in seconds. Teach face-to-face interactive lessons without having to leave the site. Teaching chess online has never been easier.
Welcome back to the Collegiate Chess League presented to you by SIG. Man, the first 2 rounds of the finals match, Joe, at this championship match have been absolutely insane, and not necessarily in like the best way for UT Dallas. I mean, did you expect this to happen?
No, definitely not expecting this. This is an absolute blowout, and we've seen these teams compete actually before in the regular season. It was a much closer match, and definitely something that we were expecting again to see today. So only 2 rounds left in the entire season. SLU still has some work to go before they can claim their championship prize. They need, I think, 2 more wins, but Dallas is still in their way. So let's take a look quickly at the match of the ages here in the past. We can
Yeah,
see
these
they've
two
played
teams.
before.
Yeah, these two teams have played in week 6 of the regular season. As a reminder for everyone, Joe, how did that go?
I mean, as you remember, this was a triple OT match. This is 14.5, 13.5 win for SLU. And I think the main difference that we can see here is SLU is actually missing their top board, Nicolas Theodorou, that week. And it was very close. In fact, it came down to, I think, 4th round. One of the Dallas players, unfortunately, wasn't able to clinch the win. And I mean, Dallas needed a sweep, and they almost had it. So they beat SLU like 3.5 to a half. But that half point allowed SLU to go to overtime, and that's when they ended up getting the job done in triple OT. So we've seen these two teams compete before in a very close, dramatic style. Maybe Dallas has another dramatic finish left in them to bring it back even.
For sure. I mean, you just never know what might happen, right? However, 6.5 to SLU going into round 3 means that SLU actually only needs 2 wins to finish out the entire match. 8.5 wins you the match. We've definitely seen crazier things happen, but with the current performance of SLU, it's looking, a little tough. I mean, I do not want to be playing against SLU today if I was a chess player.
Yeah, I feel like this SLU team could compete in the European Team Championship against some of the actual Olympic teams. Obviously, we know 2 of the players are. But yeah, there's a very good chance that the match could be over after this round.
Very much so. I mean, we do have kickoff for the games. We can take a look at Nicolas Theodorou's game to start. He is going into what is, I assume, like a Sicilian, but with B3 now. It's transposed a little bit. So it's all fun for SLU and Dallas until Dallas realizes that they are down a lot of points.
Yeah, I would hope that Dallas realized that at the beginning of round 1 when they were down 3 points to start with. So only 2 rounds remaining, only 8 games left, and SLU only needs 2 points, right? So
Yeah.
and Dallas, they don't even have a win yet. They've only had 3 draws. So I thought Ivan would be maybe a difference maker here. He only has a couple of draws. Brodsky, their grandmaster that we're watching right now, he's up against Theodora, the board 1, and he's got the black pieces playing the Sicilian. Is there any hope for him to maybe get on the board for Dallas?
Oh, I would say it's a little tough. There's always hope. There's always a chance. However, SLU just looks so good. I mean, last week Nicholas was in top form. This week Nicholas was in top form. Yesterday he played exceptional, and today he has seemed like he knows absolutely what he's doing. Although this opening is very interesting. Can't say
Yeah.
I've ever seen H4 here before.
Yeah, B3 Sicilian with H4. Theodoro is definitely one that knows his openings. We saw him win in less than 20 moves in the European Team Championship. And again, in round 1, he won in 16 moves. And him and Bok are kind of unstoppable at the moment. They're both perfect, 2 for 2 in this matchup. And they're looking to continue. So it's tougher opponents, though, for sure, right? They were able to dispatch the lower 2 boards from Dallas. Now, in the latter half, they're up against the top 2 boards from Dallas. So this is perhaps going to be, I mean, it's definitely a necessity for the top boards to compete here.
Definitely.
Ivan and David. So we'll keep an eye on this one. Is there anything sticking out to you?
Nothing in particular, but we should take a quick look at bird's eye view. All of the games are, they're still going, which is a good sign at the very least. However, Andrei Makove is completely crushing over there on board 3.
Yeah, this is huge. This is a much needed point. If he can hold on to this, we've seen him blunder in the past. So actually, Makove, while Bok was commentating, he blundered a mate in 1 against an untitled player. So even though
Really?
Batsurin is tough, in a tough spot, yeah, Andre, we can't let that slip, right? Like,
Of course.
that game will live on in infamy in the Collegiate Chess League history books. But hopefully he can convert this. So why is this so good for White?
I mean, this position, he's got the exchange, I think is the biggest part of Andre's advantage, but also the opponent king is just sort of stuck on d8 and cannot castle. It's just there. It's just hanging out there. Very painful position for black to play. A lot of threats coming in. There's bishop g5. There's also nothing that black can really do to develop. There's bishop e7, of course, but even then, your king is still sitting on d8, and there's not much to play for. I'm not sure entirely how Andre ended up in this position, but it's a very good position to be in.
Yeah, maybe we can go back and look at how Andre was able to sack his rook for 2 minor pieces.
Right. So I think it all started around here. This was the Caro Kann for everybody. Black here, I believe, made the mistake of playing f6, giving up this pawn on h5 after bishop takes, f takes, queen h4. I think Andre simply missed that the bishop on f5 was defending his knight. So rook takes f5, bam, and then all of a sudden, white is up material. And knight to e5 is actually interesting because you can't play knight takes e5 since you lose your queen on d1. So after knight e5, Andre actually has to find the best move in this position, which is not d takes d5, which is also very logical because of bishop c5, king to h1, and now all of a sudden there's rook takes h2. I don't know if he's going to see this, but there's still knight no knight h2 because the queen on d1 is hanging. So
And
after
if
rook
king
takes,
takes h2.
yeah, if king takes, now you just swing your rook over, and I think this is a
Wow.
very common checkmate idea that you might see when you do puzzles. So,
Wow.
oh my god. Oh no. It's not looking good.
Wait, so what was the move?
Oh my god. Oh, he had to play bishop takes d5. Very hard move to spot,
Wow,
obviously.
that is definitely a tricky one. So Batsurin, with his back against the wall, finds knight takes e5, and he's right back in it, and he's winning.
And he's winning. That's all it took.
Oh my goodness. These grandmasters just don't go down.
Yeah, and Andre is looking as frustrated as ever. He's just like, how did I let him go? How did I let that happen? And honestly, I don't have an answer for that. I don't know how he let that happen. I feel like it was very difficult to play that position, but all of your moves are losing apart from one, or like worse apart from one, and you just had to play bishop d5, go for the compensation there. But it's tough. It's tough to play these positions with only 5+2 time control. So rough, very rough. I genuinely like feel for Andre because I understand. Yeah, the way like going from winning, thinking you have a chance, to then losing immediately after, not even like equal, just losing after. Whew, it's tough. It's really
Yeah,
tough.
I mean, you play so hard to try to get some points back on the board, and unfortunately, it's just not working out. Because your opponent finds this really tricky knight takes e5 sacrifice, and I mean, huge credit to Batsurin not giving up and just keeping his awareness up in those key crucial moments to find that game-changing tactic that's going to turn the tide of the game, and that's going to be the reason why maybe Batsurin gets the point instead of Andre. So I mean,
Yeah.
everything's just been going in SLU's favor. Nothing's going right for this Dallas team.
For sure. I mean, Batsurin is only one part of the overall SLU team. So let's take a quick look at bird's eye view. Obviously, Andre losing that game means that SLU is, back to looking very, very likely to win the match. They only need 2 more points this this entire match. The rest of the match, they have 2 rounds. We're currently in round 3. They have a round 4 after this. They only need 2 more points total.
Yeah, and it's just unfortunate. Dallas is gonna be with their backs against the wall very soon. If Batsurin converts that, which very likely he will, then SLU's only 1 point away from winning, right? So 8.5 is the magic number. With a win here, they're going to be at 7.5, and then Dallas from then on out is going to be on a must-win situation, and that's just not a situation you want to be in. That's just not feasible to come back with so many games left.
Yeah, for sure. I think we can take a quick look at David Brodsky versus Nicolas Theodorou. Pretty interesting position they have going on there.
Yeah, it looks like Theodorou's at a different hotel.
Yeah, it does look like Theodorou is at a different hotel. I mean, Theodorou is Greek, so he's playing for the Greek team. I assume maybe they put Greece in a different hotel. Who knows? But it does look like Moldova and the Netherlands are currently in the same hotel over there at the European teams. But this
Maybe they got
position,
the discount.
yeah, this position at least looking a little better for Black, I would say, than Andre's game. Still very tough to play, I would say, positionally as Black. I think White has easier ideas, but it's also not that easy for White to really come up with an attack. So h6 is played. It forces the bishop to be bad.
Yeah, but the time scramble from David, he's got half the time, less than half the time that Theodora is working with. So how is Brodsky in bullet time controls here?
I mean, I don't know, but I heard Danya say yesterday that Brodsky is very good at blitz, so I'm sure he's like fairly comfortable. And also, Nicolas was playing European teams earlier today. You know, he's been playing classical chess, so who knows? It definitely hasn't seemed like that affects his blitz play at all. He seemed spectacular, but maybe, just maybe, Brodsky can find a weakness that Nicolas himself doesn't know about just yet. For example, here, this is a free pawn. There we go.
Yeah, I mean, couldn't you call it a free pawn the move before? Or no?
Yeah, but the problem with that was the fork. I mean, it's a free pawn for 1 move, and then you pay for it.
Okay.
You know, nothing in life
Right.
just comes free.
Nothing's free. All right. Well, Black did not go for it, and now White, I'm assuming, will take on e6, but maybe not.
Maybe not. Yeah, I mean, not taking on h6, definitely a decision to be made because obviously there's like chances that h-file becomes weak. White is still going to take on e6 regardless, doubling the pawns here, but I don't think there's a lot that White can play for. It's very difficult to ever get this f4 pawn pushed up, and your king is always a little bit less safe, so I don't even know if you want to.
Yeah. Okay, knight goes back for Black. Okay, looking for some rook trades. The bishop now gets into g5. 10 seconds for Brodsky.
10 seconds.
There goes the h-pawn.
Finally, now the h-pawn does drop. Not the most important pawn in the position at this current moment, but you never know. h5 pawn, I mean, if the pawn ever pushes to h5, it can always become a pass pawn.
Yeah, so Theodoro gets that rook to the h-file like he wanted, but you can see it's not really working with any of White's other pieces. We see this trade taking with the rook because pawn takes would open up the long diagonal, and we see a exchange sacrifice here from Brodsky. He's leaving that rook on f4. He doesn't want this dark square bishop to infiltrate. Oh, maybe he changed his mind.
Well, it was
He
because
needs it.
there's knight d4
Exactly.
for the fork. So yeah, but I mean, this is also all good. It's the most likely result of this game is that it's a draw, but Brodsky obviously going to push for the win here despite only having 7 seconds on the clock. So, you know, very interesting game.
Yeah, and we see a result from Bok's board. So, I'm not too. Is that maybe they did a perpetual? I'm not sure what happened in that one actually.
I'm not certain either. I didn't keep an eye out on it, but I'm sure Bok is not too worried about the draw. Now SLU is 1.5 points away from winning the match, and it's currently looking like, we can take a quick look at Bird's Eye. It's currently looking like Andre is still losing, so Batsurin might be clinching his team a win. And if Robbie and Nicolas both draw, then they've already won the match. So it's pretty tough. It's looking pretty tough here for Dallas.
Yeah, I mean, it's been looking tough since the get-go. So their position has not changed in the match overall. But, I mean, still, they made it to second place. Like, I mean, the match isn't over, but it's over, right? Unfortunately for them. But, I mean, who knows? Maybe if I say that enough times, I could bring out the commentator's curse and jinx them
Yeah.
to winning some games.
Yeah, there's always that possibility. I mean, we'll take a quick look at Batsurin's game because I think he's got a very comfortable knight, rook versus knight endgame, but he still has to be a little bit careful. This is really the only game that there is any chance that white can even. Okay, never mind. I take it all back. Pawn on h6 is gone. It's over. It's over. Every other game's gonna end in a draw. I was gonna say this is like the only unbalanced game because every other game is just literally heading straight for a draw.
Dare I say it's Jover?
It's Jover. It's Jover for Dallas.
Rook takes, yep, and hoping for a stalemate.
Hoping for stalemate, but I don't think that's going to happen. Instead, he just resigns. Looks very annoyed. I mean, I don't blame him. He had that chance in the opening to win right out of like he had a chance, but unfortunately, even if he had one, it would have still been very, very, very tough for UT Dallas to make the full comeback.
Yeah, that's wild. And we have 2 last games. I'm still surprised at box draw. I think it was repetition, but Dallas has yet to win a game, Nemo. Like, we're 10 games in.
We are 10 games in. I believe they are not forced to play the last round. Am I right, Joe? However, they can if they want to.
Well, in tradition, we've played out all 16 games for the match. And in credit, like, the match isn't over yet, right? Like, if Dallas wins everything from here on out, they've tied it and forced overtime, which we've seen before. But unfortunately, I don't think it's gonna pan out unless SLU team gets some sort of internet disconnection.
Yeah, somebody raids Nicholas's hotel right now. I mean, he's kind of doxing himself. He's got a curtain in the background. I'm sure there's somebody out there at European teams that can identify what hotel room that's in. A couple messages here and there.
Okay.
Yeah, it's tough, and I don't know how the swatting rules go wherever they are, but Nicolas is just going to go for the perpetual. He has no interest in pushing this position for a win, especially because he's actually getting made in a few moves if he doesn't take the perpetual. So,
well, is there any chance for Brodsky then to escape the checks or no?
There is no chance whatsoever. Unfortunately for Brodsky, we're just trying to find ways for UT Dallas to stay in the game, but none of that. None of that. Yeah, there's none of that. Unfortunately.
Oh, and you see Brodsky's so unfortunate. He's feeling bad. He couldn't get the win.
Yeah, he looked like he was very close there, to potentially having some chances earlier on in this endgame. That the part that we missed, obviously, but we are seeing final results come in, with a draw coming in from Benjamin Bok as well. So.
Yeah, this is Dallas's best performing round so far, but they still lost around 1.5 to 2.5, and ultimately losing the match in its entirety. So we do have the new champions, which actually are the defending champions, SLU, winning back-to-back seasons, first time in Collegiate Chess League history. They've passed the 8.5 point mark with 9 here, with the round to spare. So congratulations to them winning $5,000 and taking home the championship title. So that is awesome for them. Congratulations to the entire SLU team. Obviously, these 4 players are the champions once again, getting the job done here today.
Wow. Oh, man. I mean, congratulations, SLU. That was incredible. Very well played coming in from the SLU team. They were looking very good yesterday. Today, they looked exceptionally good. I mean, they were 3.5 to 0.5, and not 4-0 only because Batsurin did not convert his endgame, but SLU looked good from the very start of today. And I have to admit, this was not what I was expecting at all. We're still going to get a round 4. They are still going to play it out, but this is not what I was expecting. I mean, there's still a chance that, on paper, UT Dallas is not going to look as bad as 9-3. There's always that chance. It could end with 9-7, which is, on paper looking a little better. But the result is final. SLU has won. They've had a spectacular season. Lost to Mizzou once. That was probably the only moment they were looking a little bit shaky, and ever since then, they have crushed. So huge congratulations to the team, as well as, I believe, their coach, Akobian. It's his birthday, apparently, today, so an extra
Wow.
special shout-out to the SLU team.
What a birthday gift for their coach. So I didn't know that. But happy birthday to Var Akobian. Hopefully he's watching and supporting his team. But yeah, I mean, you said this isn't what we were expecting, but frankly, we were expecting SLU to win, just not by this much. And the only consolidation I can give to Dallas is that it doesn't matter how close the match was. Only thing that matters is winning or losing. They could have lost in quadruple overtime, and the result would have been the same. So they end up with second place, which is nothing to scoff at. That is better than every team in the league except one, which is the team that beat them, and frankly, the better team for sure. So SLU is definitely deserving of this, and their job isn't even done yet here. They're still playing in round 4. Maybe we'll see some quick draws, but basically, I'm hoping Dallas, at least in this last round, can maybe squeak out at least one win. Like, they still haven't won a game yet. It's only been draws for them.
Yeah, it's definitely been really crazy. I mean, with how well SLU has played, but Dallas definitely still going to this last round. I mean, I don't know how motivated they are, but look at Ivan's room also matches. Oh, I suppose Ivan is also Moldova, which makes sense. Him and Makove seem to have similar hotel rooms. So we have 3 people playing European team championships from the same hotel. We're getting there. We're figuring out where everybody's located. But other than that, I mean, yeah, there's always the chance that, Ivan can play against Nicolas over the board and get a win too.
He could get his revenge with his country.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, but Theodore has been good not only in CCL but also in Europe as well. So tough opponent to play in classical blitz, anytime control. He's just a good player.
Very good player. He is 3092 rated on Chess.com. That's pretty insane.
Yeah, and a fun fact, actually, Theodoro and Bok were both on the SLU team that won in the first season. So this is Theodoro and Bok's 3rd championship in the Collegiate Chess League, and that's the most of any college teams. And I also want to mention that Theodoro, back in the day, was actually an international master playing for SLU. So he's gotten his GM title since then. And it's really cool to see like the UTRGV team has gotten some IMs to GMs throughout the season in the CCL. So even though some of these teams they're not competing at the same level that SLU is, SLU has just been a powerhouse team since the get-go, since the inaugural season. They've definitely been here before, and not only just in CCL, but also in Pan Am's, Final Four, U.S. College Online Rapid and Blitz, you name it. Any college chess tournament, this SLU team's going to be there. They're going to be competing and expecting to win, and they've done nothing less than that. So just an absolute pleasure to be able to witness this powerhouse team, and hopefully we can get some better competition for them in future seasons to come.
Yeah, definitely very exciting chess coming in. I actually did not know Nicolas was still an international master when he first signed up on the team. So always really great to see progress. And I'm not even sure when the first, CCL season was, but sounds like SLU is going to be around for a long time. I mean, Benjamin's still working on his masters. So we
Yeah.
might even see the same team next year, and they are looking so good.
Yeah, so inaugural season of the Collegiate Chess League was back in 2020. So it's been
Okay.
about 3 years, more than 3 years now. This is technically season 7 that we're in. We've had multiple seasons per year. And our next season, if anyone watching is interested in registering, I know these teams will definitely be back. It's going to be announced next month with registration ending mid-January, pretty much right after Pan Am. So next season is going to be coming up soon. Don't forget about that. And I'm really looking forward to see who's going to step up and compete. And I'm looking forward to see SLU defend their title again and see if they can go back to back to back, the 3-time.
That would be pretty crazy. But speaking of crazy, that is not what this game is. So let's take a quick look at Bird's Eye View. They have played very fast and are going into this end game. And I don't think Nicolas is too worried about pushing his position with the black pieces for a win. So all the games looking pretty even. Batsurin just doing Batsurin things, completely crushing on board 4. We can tune into that really quick. They might have already won, but that's not going to stop him from playing his favorite Neo-Catalan, apparently. I don't even know if this is a Neo-Catalan or if it's the English or whatever happened here, but he always likes to play the C4, G3, Bishop G2 structure, which was actually used a bunch by Ding in the World Championship. So maybe he got some inspiration from there, or maybe Ding got some inspiration from him. Who really knows? Anyways, the point here is Batsurin just completely crushing.
As he has done in the past, no stop in sight for these SLU players. I'm really curious to see if we get some perfect scores. Do we know if Theodoro or Bok are still perfect? They started 2 for 2.
I think Bok has 1 draw at the very least, and we actually have a result coming in with Andre drawing against Robbie. Not the best day for Andre. Better luck to him tomorrow in his European teams match against Poland, apparently. Better luck there. But definitely a bit rough today, performance-wise. But also, it looks like Nicolas is not going to have a perfect score as Batsurin figures out to win his position. Let's actually go back to Bird's Eye View, because Nicolas is no longer drawing his.
Yeah, Ivan is actually pushing here for a dub. He's got this past A pawn, and he's wasting no time pushing it. So, was it Ivan that wasn't pushing the A pawn before? Did he did he take your advice from that previous game?
I don't think it was Ivan. I think it was Jakub that was not pushing the pawn in the previous match, and I was like, "Hey, what's that famous Yasser Seirawan quote?"
Yeah.
You know
So
it.
Ivan's showing Jakub how it's done.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that pawn on A5 is going to be so annoying. Sorry, A6 is going to be so annoying. And if Black ever captures this bishop, then it's just a completely winning king endgame, so he can't. Unfortunately, it doesn't help him much because his king is always going to be committed against promoting this pawn, which means that Ivan has all the time in the world to just grab all of the pawns, all of Nicolas's pawns. And once the pawns are gone, there's nothing that Nicolas can do. Not giving up a free g-pawn, offering a trade, which if Nicolas ever accepts, he's just going to lose the game. So it does look like Ivan's going to get a win.
So a win for the Dallas team in the 4th round.
Yeah, a win for the Dallas team in the 4th round. It does make the score look a little better.
Yeah, and I think your prediction, my prediction is still kind of on the line. I said 9.5 to 6.5.
9.5, 6.5. What did
So
I
need
say?
2 more. You said like 9 to 7, I think.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I think.
Yeah, I think so too. But I think Batsurin's gonna win. So I feel like nobody's prediction's coming alive today.
This is the last match of the season. I need those gifted subs.
You've been working hard for them, Joe.
This entire season, we haven't predicted. Well, I haven't predicted one right at all.
Yeah.
Come on, Batsurin. throw a piece.
Wait, that was UT Dallas's first win of the match.
Yeah, of the entire match. Yes.
Of the entire match. I didn't realize. I didn't realize
Yeah,
that.
they've only had draws.
Oh boy.
No, it's been rough. It's been rough.
It's
So
a
hey,
tough day in the office.
at least they get one win, and it was against Theodora too. Like of any of the wins you could get, that's probably the most impressive.
Definitely an important one. But we are seeing here Betsurin having 2 whole minutes more than his opponent, as his opponent is probably thinking more about how he ended up in the situation more than how he can get out of the situation, because his king is still on e8. The rook's on b4. He is down 3 pawns, sorry.
He's just
3
down.
pawns now. Painful position for Balaji to keep playing, but he is going to try.
Yeah, this is the last game of the season. Enjoy it while you can, but don't fret too much, because reminder, the next season is starting soon. So Collegiate Chess League does 2 seasons a year, one in the spring, one in the fall. So you get both semesters covered basically. And it's exciting because maybe you didn't get the result you wanted this season, but there's always next season. And luckily, not a lot of people graduate in the middle of the year. So a lot of these teams will be the same. And people will also actually add new members to their team as people are joining the chess club and all of that. So still plenty of chances left for Dallas to get some good results by the end of the year.
I thought you were gonna say there's some people are gonna join the school in January, and that would have been really fun because they're seeing how well the school is doing in chess. Maybe they'll sign up. Maybe they'll sign up for that chess scholarship. Don't forget, both of these teams have students who are attending a school on a chess scholarship, which means that they are not paying for their notoriously expensive American education. And they get to play chess at the same time, and also get to become grandmasters apparently during their time at the school, which is really cool. So that's a lot of fun. And let's actually take a quick look at Bird's Eye. Benjamin's game is also still going on. We haven't actually given him that much attention this week around, today, because Benjamin Bok Hype Man has not been the Chad bothering us. So we have been able to, comfortably look at everybody else's game. But Benjamin, obviously, always playing good chess at European teams, playing good chess at the Collegiate Chess League. He also partakes in a lot of other Chess.com activities and is a frequent commentator and guest interviewee on this show. Has an absolutely crushing position at this current moment.
Oh my God, 2.1 seconds for David.
Yeah, David is living life on the edge.
Wow. And yeah, you really hyped up Bok in place of his hype man. So Benjamin really does it all, doesn't he?
He does.
Yeah, and he gets wins too, as we just saw. So another point that's going to ruin my prediction, unfortunately, as well as yours. Actually, yours is already passed, but yeah, I mean, what else is there to say? I mean, we're going to have one of these champions join us for an interview afterwards. So if you guys have any questions or even suggestions on who we should bring in, I think we had Bok yesterday. Maybe we could ask him again, or maybe we get one of his teammates. But we have the final score here. Dallas getting only 1 win from Ivan in that last round for a total score of SLU winning 11.5 to 4.5 for the championship, along with $5,000. UT Dallas loses, but they still go home with $2,500 for second place.
Yeah, I mean, with these wins, SLU has won the 2023 Fall Division 1 championship, and they are absolutely killing it. 11.5 for SLU, 4.5 for UT Dallas. I mean, we saw this coming, but I personally did not see it coming with such a big score difference. Like you were saying, Joe, both of our predictions got a little bit messed up over there. But going into the finals, I've never seen St. Louis look stronger. And with that, with the round over, SLU indeed has won the 2023 fall season Division 1. Joe, what are your thoughts on this season?
I mean, it's been a fantastic season. We saw 7 weeks of regular season plus these last 2 weeks of the playoffs. The games have been spectacular. The matches have been spectacular. SLU has been spectacular. What a fantastic finish for them. Absolute dominant performance here where it mattered most. They're so deserving, and they're defending their title successfully, and they're showing why they're the champions. So congratulations to them. Can't wait to see them compete again next season. Nemo, it's been an honor, and I'm very excited to see if we can bring in one of these champions to see and catch some of their feelings after winning.
We will absolutely have one of the champions from SLU come over. But honestly, once again, huge congratulations to SLU winning the championship. It's been absolutely incredible seeing them win the 2023 Fall Season Division 1 championship. And a huge shout out to all of the schools that have partaked in this amazing series. Also, a huge shout out to our commissioner over here, Joe, for putting a lot of this together. And we really couldn't have done this without the Chess.com team, SIG, and obviously all of these players. So we are going to be going on break. And when we are back, we are going to have an interview with the 2023 Fall Divisions 1 champion. So be right back.
I can guarantee that working your way through this course and solving all 1001 exercises will reward you not only with a greater tactical knowledge, but also with spotting more tactics in your own games. My name is Fiona Steil-Anthony, and I'm a Women International Master. I wish you a warm welcome to the course 1001 Chess Exercises for Beginners, authored by Franco Mazzetti and Roberto Massa, with videos by me. In this case, the knight on c5 is not protected, and so the winning move is g6. g6 is the discovered attack, but it is also a double attack, because not only are we hitting the knight on c5, we are also threatening mate on h7. In this case, rook c7. Black has no choice but to capture, and now our queen comes in. We've lured the queen away. Now the king is too far removed. It cannot protect the black queen, so we are going to pick up the black queen on the next move.
Welcome to Check with Mates, the only podcast by chess pieces for chess pieces. I'm a rook, and I'm a pawn. Let me ask you this. You ever feel like you're undervalued? Absolutely. Everyone's like, oh, pawns, they can only move one square, they can't go backwards. Maybe we don't want to go backwards, you know? Maybe we're focused on the future. Yeah, I feel that. Sometimes I wonder why we're even protecting a king. He wasn't elected through a democratic process. Maybe I want to be king. Dude, I think about that every day. Yeah. Okay, real quick, shout out to our sponsor, HelloFresh. I don't use them because I'm a chess piece, but I'm sure they're great.
Have a friend or family member who loves chess? Gift them a Chess.com membership today and see them take their game to the next level. You can choose a gold, platinum, or diamond membership for 1 month or 1 year. Want your gift to arrive on your friend's birthday or on a holiday? Gifts can be scheduled to arrive up to 90 days in the future. All premium plans include an ad-free experience, unlimited puzzles and lessons, and unlock all bots. Go platinum to add unlimited game review or diamond to unlock insights and coach explanations. Give the gift of chess today.
Welcome back, everyone. Today's matches were presented by SIG, and that actually did wrap up our entire fall season of the 2023 Collegiate Chess League. We're joined now by Benjamin Bok, the infamous Grandmaster we have all seen play during the season, and also the Grandmaster who has his own hype man. So, Benjamin, first of all, congratulations on an amazing season. You look like you were in peak form this entire season. How has it felt playing these matches, and what were your thoughts going into today's finals?
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and it's been nice that for the playoffs we managed to get the team together. And yeah, I said it before, I felt like our biggest competitor was Mizzou, so it was definitely very nice to take them down in the semifinals, also to take revenge. I did think that we were a pretty big favorite going into today's matchup. We outrated them on every board, and that's also what showed in the match. But, you still have to do it at the end of the day. But yeah, overall, very happy that we won. I mean, to be fair, I didn't expect anything less because our team is the best in the league. But happy to get the championship.
Benjamin Bok, first and foremost, congratulations on winning the championship. You guys are the first team in CCL history to win back-to-back championships. You're also the only team with multiple team championships. This is your third championship now. And I noticed the first championship that you guys won actually had you and Theodoro on the team back then. And I wanted to ask, how much time left do you guys have together as teammates at SLU? And do you feel like these are kind of SLU's glory days that you're living in right now? Or do you think there's still much more to come in the future?
It's a good question. Yeah, no, actually, this will probably be my last year at SLU. Same for Theodoro. We've been here since 2018, and you usually can only be on scholarship for 6 years. So, there might be a time, 50 years from now when people will be like, oh, do you remember those days when Bach and Theodoro were on the SLU team? Like, that team was just unbeatable. But yeah, unfortunately, that's coming to an end. Also, Akshat, it's his last year, and Robbie only has 1 year left. So then the other teams will have a better chance.
I mean, even if the teams have a better chance after you guys leave, I'm sure you guys will also have some amazing teammates step up. But Benjamin, when do you graduate, first of all, and what do you plan on doing after graduation?
It's a good question. Still figuring that out, Nemo. But yeah, so still figuring that out. But it's good to at least have 1 degree already under my belt.
Ben, obviously you have a lot of fans. You're a big streamer. You've done so much in chess and in streaming and competing not only for the European team, but obviously the collegiate team. How does it feel to have so many fans, and any fan in particular that you wanted to shout out and thank?
Yeah, of course. Shout out to all of my fans. I mean, right now I actually have Hunter Wiz on my own channel who's covering the match. So big shout out to him. But of course, the biggest shout out should go to the hype man who's always, motivating me, pushing me to do better. So big shout out to him. And he's always there to, give me energy, but also to correct me when, he feels like I'm not pushing hard enough. So big shout out to the hype man.
I really want to know, how did you end up with a hype man? How did this come to be? Like, are you paying him on the side? Is it just you? Is your mother? Like, what's going on here?
No, it's just he found his cause, his destiny in life. And yeah, no, it's great having a hype man. I mean, I don't know if you have a hype man, Nima. I don't think so. I think you're jealous.
I don't think so. I'm personally a little bit jealous, but only because Benjamin Bok Hype Man is pulling so much attention to you. Whenever he's on broadcast, he asks for your games, and then I look over at Benjamin's game, and it's like this very drawish opposite color bishop endgame, and I'm like, we can't really tune into this game, but at least, he's bringing you extra attention, so that's always good. But huge congratulations once again, Benjamin. It's been a lot of fun having you this season, and also been a lot of fun watching you play some absolutely amazing chess. Best of luck on your match tomorrow at the European Team Championship. We will be seeing you more in the future, for sure.
And before I let you go, Ben, I wanted to ask really quickly, you guys obviously win the championship, and you're going to win and take home $5,000. How do you and your teammates plan on celebrating?
It's a good question. Well, so yeah, as Nima said, I have a chess match tomorrow, so not really. I'm just we're gonna focus on our match. But I just learned that apparently it's Varusian Zakobian's birthday. He's the head coach of SLU, so I think the people who are in St. Louis, they'll definitely go out for dinner, and I think they'll have a nice celebration.
That's very wholesome. Yeah, hope you guys enjoy it. Hope Akobian enjoys as well. And happy birthday to him. We will be seeing you. Good luck once again, and congratulations to the whole team.
Thanks, Nima. Thanks, Joe.
See you, Ben. All right. I never actually know if I should call him Ben or Benjamin. In the US, I think I always shorten it, and in Europe, I would never shorten it. But anyways, it was fantastic having Benjamin Bok on. Huge congratulations to him and his team. Grandmasters Nicolas Theodoru, Benjamin Bok, Robbie, Kevlishvili, Batsurin, Dembasurin. Very, very well played by this team. They had an absolutely fantastic showing in the semis and in the finals as well. Wow, what an amazing season, Joe.
I'm sad that it's come to an end now. We don't have any matches left until next season. Luckily, it's coming up soon, so we're going to have registration process starting, but what a fantastic finish. As Bok said, he is part of the best team, and we saw that today. Best team won, and by a lot. That was one of the most dominant performances we've ever seen, and a historical performance for the first time having a team defend their title, go back-to-back. And this SLU team is a force to come, and we're just honored to have witnessed that. So congratulations once again to them. Nemo, it's been a blast and an honor to commentate with you this season, and I hope that we can do some more commentary in the future.
Absolutely. Joe, you have been an absolutely fantastic co-commentator. Thank you so much for not only being a commentator with me, but also being the man behind the Collegiate Chess League. I mean, please, everybody in chat, give a round of applause to this man. Thank you guys so much for watching, and a huge thank you to SIG, Chess.com, the players, the universities, and everybody that has participated in all 23 divisions of this fall season Collegiate Chess League. It's been absolutely amazing, and I appreciate every single person that has watched this show, followed it, shared it. It's been fun, and I hope everybody plays more chess and not necessarily goes to school. But anyways, I hope you guys have a great time. Congratulations to SLU once again for winning the 2023 Fall Chess League. Thank you so much. Take care, everyone. Today, we are crowning a champion.
This is all what it comes down to.
There was no queen to rook
Oh
take.
my god,
The
Queen
rook
A1 fist pump from Gleb.
If Mizzou wins one game, they're winning the match.
And that
Yep.
should be over. Congratulations nonetheless to Mizzou on ending in 3rd place.
White is playing b4. That's a mystery to me too. That looks like a free pawn.
Wow.
And that looks like a rook?
Holy smokes, folks. These games are knockouts. Batsurin really letting off Dallas off the hook, I guess. But 3.5 to a half, I think SLU's happy regardless. They're going to take that to the bank.
It looks like Benjamin Bok has lost most of his advantage. I take it all back. I take it all back. He's doing just fine. Oh my god. Oh no. Oh no. It's not looking good.
Wait, so what was the move?
Oh my god.
Oh my goodness.
SLU has won the 2023 Fall Division 1 Championship.